Hello there. My name is Jasom Jensai, and welcome to this stream where we're going to be talking about, well, it's really not so much a topic as it is just like ranking a whole bunch of stuff. So yeah, we're basically going to be ranking a whole bunch of Star Wars characters. There's this huge like list of all these characters. There's not all the ones I would want. There's a lot that I'm probably not going to rank because I don't know, they're just not that interesting to rank, like Leia. I mean, cool character, but I don't know. When you're comparing it to characters like Yoda, I'd much rather rank other characters. So there's some I probably won't rank, unless in the chat you're like, please rank that person. I really want to see your ranking. Then I'll probably put them up. But yeah, you'll see all that. Before we get to that, though, I have one thing. It's the question of the stream. And the question of the stream is, what is the name of Boba Fett's ship? And if you've seen my past few ones, they've been kind of related to whatever episode of the Bad Batch I've been watching. Oh, and quick side note. I can't quite tell from the description, but it kind of seems like the next 3 episodes are going to be one big arc, and I'm going to review those all at once, right at the very end, and also the entire show. So look forward to that. I won't have a stream next week. I will be gone pretty much the entire week. But the week after that, look forward to a huge Bad Batch review. But basically, question of the stream: what is the name of Boba Fett's ship? You get 10 points, but only if you're the first person. You may get one guess, and you can't look it up. So that's the question of the stream. Let's move on to the main topic, which is ranking all these characters. So I've got the normal A, B, C, D, E, F, like A for amazing, E for effort, F for failure, got all those, and then also S tier. I'm not sure why that's a thing, but it's a thing, so I'm going to use it. And then I have don't care. And because, like I said, like Admiral Holdo, yeah, don't care. Like, why would I mean, don't like her character, but that's not why. Babu Frick, love his character, very fun, but I mean, I rank him like a way below F, basically, is the problem. So let's start with Ayla Sakira. And right off, this is a really hard one, because I think we only see her in one episode, or one, I don't remember if it's one episode, one story arc, where they go to that Irish lemur planet, pacifists, and they stop the what's the like species name? Neomodian. That's it. I'm not crazy, right? Anyways, I'm forgetting, but it doesn't matter. The Neomodian guy in a AAT with a giant cannon, who's like testing out stuff. They stop him on that planet. So I think that's all we see from her, and it's really not much. I'm thinking. Okay, that's a placeholder so I can move up. So S tier would be like my Yodas. A would be, okay, I'm thinking like a C tier. And that might change as I refine the list more. Ahsoka Tano. And I looked a bit on this list already, and there is no older Ahsoka, so we only have the Ahsoka from the Clone Wars. So if there was an older Ahsoka, I'd probably put her in A tier. But just a young Ahsoka, probably really high C tier. Probably ahead of Ayla at that point. Oops. I don't know if you can see. Nope, you can't. But I accidentally went to my... Anyways, doesn't matter. Anakin. So we got Anakin, Revenge of the Sith. Probably A tier. I mean, Anakin is really powerful. He's not quite embraced his use of the Force as much as you would expect from someone so strong in it. But, I mean, his reflexes, his speed and strength are just amazing. So, yeah, A tier. Ventress. So, Ventress I would put probably not quite in B tier, but it's kind of like Ahsoka. It's close. I think she would go above Ahsoka, but it's hard to tell. Ayla Sakira. No, this is not... Sorry. Aura Singh. So the Bounty Hunter. I'd say E tier. Grogu. I don't know. You guys might want me to rank Grogu. I don't know. I'm going to put it in don't care. Barriss Offee. Or Offee. How is it pronounced? I never know how it's pronounced. I know I used to say it Barriss Offee, but I've also heard people say Barriss Offee. But I don't remember what we actually hear said in like the Clone Wars. I'm going to say C tier. I mean, she matches Ahsoka, which puts her right in with C tier, but at the same time, there's a lot of like caveats in that fight, so not way above Ahsoka. I don't think she could quite take on like a B tier person, and I'll get to the type of person I have in mind for B tier. But battle droids, one battle droid would definitely be far below F tier, so put in don't care. Baze Malbus. This is a guy from Rogue One, if you're having trouble picturing his face. He is, I would say, probably F tier. I'll put him in E tier. And I'm going to put Arsing up one. BB-8, don't care. Bib Fortuna, don't care. Boba Fett. Okay. I'm definitely going to put him in D tier, above Arsing. I mean, as much as I like to push back on the people who think he's just like the best warrior ever and can take on like Jedi Council members, he is really skilled. Yeah, there's no doubt about it. But he just doesn't have the Force, so he's at such a severe disadvantage, when compared to all the other people. And I just realized we have some chats, which the way I'm doing it, I can't see the chat right now. I'll have to use this. Okay, now I got it. Okay, so Ahsoka Tano says hi. Hello there. How you doing? Old Foxy 33 says she held her own against Anakin, and sorry, there is a bit of a delay, so I don't know if this is just my negligence or just the fact that there's a delay, but I don't know who you're referring to. So if you could please specify, then I can more properly respond to that. But I'm assuming you're talking to Admiral Holdo, and I don't remember that scene, so if you could point that out for me. Yeah, I don't remember which scene Admiral Holdo took on Anakin. Old Foxy 33 also had some comments before the stream that said cool and does this stuff like stormtroopers, baby moon battle droids. So I kind of mentioned that when I talked about the battle droid, is just one of them would be so far below the other characters that like not even worthy of the F level. I mean, I could do like a G, but that just sounds kind of weird, as just growing up with A through F. I'm doing pretty good, Ahsoka. How you? I already said how are you. Yeah, so yeah, so I probably won't. I would say like if you want me to do like 10 battle droids and see where I put that kind of stuff, I could do that. The other thing is you could totally. Okay, I'll get to the Barris in a second. The other thing is you could totally just leave characters that aren't on here at the end. You could leave characters you didn't see on here, and I'll do those if you want as well. So Barris took on Anakin. Yes. She did lose. That fight confuses me a bit, because it just, I don't know, it just conflicts so much with everything else we've seen. Because like she's an apprentice, so it's really hard for me to put her up all the way up in B tier, or even A tier, because like I mean she does appear to be pretty close against Anakin. Then again, Anakin is pretty much dominating that fight, even with 2 lightsabers, which is probably a disadvantage. Otherwise, he would do it all the time. So naturally, 2 lightsabers must be a disadvantage for him. So I would probably put her in B tier just based on that feat. But I don't know. You could probably convince me if there's like a comic or something. But as it stands, I just don't think she's quite B tier, just because of her lack of experience. Bodhi Rook. I almost forgot that guy's name. Not surprising. Again, I mean, I could put him in F tier, but I'm just not going to rate him. Same with the guy, also known as, Boss Nass. I forgot his name. He's got such a cool name. It's Boss Nass. What a great guy. Bosk, F tier, and he's kind of the example of an F tier I'd use. Pretty good warrior, but just compared to like Jedi, not really that good. C-3PO, don't care. Cad Bane. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to try and approximate. So I'm going to put them in their tiers, but I'm also going to try and approximate them so that the top ones are at the farthest left in the top of their tiers. So here's where we get to some discussion between Cad Bane and Boba Fett, because that's actually a really interesting fight. Boba Fett obviously has like the superior like armor. He's got a jetpack, which allows him to go faster, and Cad Bane has the rocket boots, which allow more mobility. Cad Bane, I'm going to put Boba Fett ahead. I just think he has better equipment, though I do think Cad Bane might be slightly more skilled. Captain Phasma, she has pretty good armor, a good blaster too. F tier. Rex, same thing, F tier. Great character, but in terms of power, he's just a clone. Same with Cara Dune. Cassian. They're making a show about him. I should know his name. Cassian Palpatine. So actually, there's something interesting about Palpatine, is they have two of him. One from 3 and one from 6. I don't know why, because he doesn't really change that much. I mean, his face changes, but his like thoughts and his power level doesn't really change. So I'm just gonna put them both in S tier. More chats. Cad Bane defeated several Jedi. Yes, but he also lost to some Jedi like Ahsoka Tano. Wait, how did he get? Forgetting how he ended up with the advantage. No, he did beat Ahsoka Tano. Almost lost to Ahsoka Tano though, and then he escaped Obi-Wan and Quinlan. What Jedi did he like outright defeat? I don't know. I can try tomorrow. I'm not sure what your Ahsoka Tano. I'm not sure what your I can try tomorrow if you want. Is it like you can't make it tonight? Is that it? I need more information. Yeah. So, Cad Bane. I'm sure there's. Oh, also keep in mind one more thing is this is all like based on canon information. So, a lot of things like Boba Fett, he does so much in Legends, so much more, and I would put him way higher if that was Legends. I think one of the big reasons I'm only doing canon is because I don't really think I have that much expertise in Legends. Like, I know the basics, like I know Revan and the big names, but I don't know their specific feats. I don't know, especially stuff after Episode 6. I never really liked that because, I mean, I just wasn't that interested in it. Yeah, I just felt like it should end with Episode 6. Then again, Disney comes along and makes what they call 7, 8, and 9. Chewbacca. I'm just going to start ranking characters so I don't deal with that negativity. Chewbacca, F tier. Well, maybe E tier, though. I'm going to put him in E tier. He's really strong. Same with Chirrut Imwe, the guy from Rogue One with the staff. The blind guy. Are you kidding me? I'm blind. It's great. Chopper. You know, astromechs are surprisingly good. I'm going to put him in F tier instead of on-ranking him. Cody, I'm going to put by Rex. Count Dooku. This guy, I love watching his fights. I'm going to put him in A tier. Kind of by Anakin. It just makes sense. I would say they're about the same skill level. Okay. Cad Bane versus Boba. I don't know what you mean by Cad Bane versus Boba Ahsoka. Are you saying, like, who would win? Darth Maul. So, this is Maul from Episode 1, which I would put a little bit lower. But I'm going to say, like, since this is the only Maul, I'm going to rate him as if he is, like, at his peak. And I would say A tier for that. And by the way, this is very debatable, but I do think Maul's peak is in Rebels. And sorry if you can hear my dog barking and stuff. She's very noisy. But yeah, I would say Maul goes in tier A. Then there's Darth Vader. Obviously, he's going to go in tier A as well. Up there with Anakin. And I actually have a video I'm pretty excited for coming up between Anakin and Vader. So look forward to that. I don't remember. It might be this week. It might be next week. I don't remember. But look forward to that. That one's one of my favorites that I've done. Director Krennic, don't care. DJ, don't care. Dryden Vos, I'll put him in F tier. He looks really he acts really dangerous, and he's good with the knives, but the knives just aren't that good of weapons. They have like no range. So that's why I'm putting him in there. And we got some more chats. Old Foxy 33 says Boba won a duel with Cad Bane. He only won because his helmet protected his head. But I think that's Legends. So, yeah, I mean, you can correct me if I'm talking about a different spot. But I know there was a unreleased, like they started working on it, but they never finished it. Clone Wars episode where Boba Fett like loses to Cad Bane. He gets hit in the helmet, and there's a dent in the helmet, and that's where that apparently famous dent comes from. So if that's what you're referring to, yeah, I'm not really sure where that stands in canon. I should probably like look into that more so I can, I guess, tell if Boba is good. But the other thing to consider there is Boba's a lot younger then, and Cad Bane is a lot older. I don't know how old Cad Bane is, so I don't know if he'd be super affected by age, but Boba would certainly be affected by age there because, I mean, he just doesn't have the experience then. So yeah, that's kind of why I favor Boba, is just because of the armor. Even in that fight, Cad Bane they both get a shot off, but Boba survives because he has the armor. But of course, that's canonicity is questionable. Then we have Echo. In Echo, he's a really good character, and actually as an ARC trooper, I would put him in probably like kind of over by Rex and Cody, but I would actually put him a lot lower now that he has his mechanical arm. It allows him to do some cool things, but in terms of just straight combat, it really makes it harder for him because all he has is that single blaster. Embo. So Embo is actually one of my favorite bounty hunters. He's just really cool. So I really want to put him in D tier with all the really cool bounty hunters, but I'm going to leave him down in E tier. Oh man, I'm forgetting this person's name. Oh man, it's the bad guy from Solo. Not the bad guy. She is believed to be the bad guy, but eventually, that means revealed that she isn't the bad guy. So I forget her name. It's I don't know. They have the really cool music for that. Not super cool, but interesting. It's very different from the rest of the music. I'm gonna put her in F tier. Same kind of thing as Dryden Vos. Looks really cool, but has a melee weapon that kind of hinders her skill. Evan Peel. This guy, I want to see so much more from him. We don't see that much from him in terms of actual combat, but I mean, I like his combat. It's very cool, much like Yoda. But what I also want to see more of is just his personality. I'm going to put him in B tier, even though we don't see that much of him. B tier is going to be kind of like the Jedi Council hangout place. And he is on the Jedi Council. He seems to be about that skill level, even though we don't see that much from him. Now we have Ezra Bridger. This one is very interesting because it depends so much on the terrain. And yeah, I'm going to keep him here in D tier. Like, he has this really strong beast control. Like, we've never see anything like that. Like, I mean, sure, we see, like, Jedi Masters like Obi-Wan taming a bunch of gut curs on Ryloth. We see Anakin in Episode 2 taming a Reek, but he just seems to be on another level in terms of talent, and I'm excited to see what they do with that, if they do something with it, of course, in the Ahsoka show or anything that comes after, whenever they continue the story of Ezra and Thrawn. I assume they're going to do that in Ahsoka, but could not do that. Finn, I don't know. I'm going to, he's a main character. I'll put him in F tier. I was considering putting him in Don't Care, but he's a main character. Then we have Fives, putting him in F tier, of course, with the other clones. Zeb, I could see in E tier. Yeah, I'm going to put him in E tier. He's good enough for that. General Grievous. And this is where it's really important that I'm doing canon, because otherwise I'd put him in, like, A tier or something, but I'm going to put him in B tier. He's really skilled. He's really scary, but I don't know. I don't think he's quite Anakin level. Next we have Hooks, don't care. Forgot the Pride, I think, don't care. Gong Droid. Now Gong Droid is an interesting one. It's a lot of people tend to underestimate him, but I actually think he goes up in B tier. I mean, he's kind of unassuming and just kind of a gray box, but I think he could really do more than people suspect. We just don't really know. Then we have Thrawn, and I would love to put Thrawn in S tier, but we're not judging tactical experience. Thrawn is one of my favorite characters. He's just so interesting. If you haven't read the Thrawn books, and I haven't read the Legends one, but if you haven't read the canon Thrawn trilogy, it's really good. You should definitely read it. I didn't like the second two books, or like the prequel trilogy, as much. It's not fully out yet, so I could change my mind. But I don't know. It just felt a little bit too, like, I don't know. It just didn't have that mystic Star Wars thing that, and sure, the Thrawn trilogy, the first canon one, didn't have that either. Like, it didn't have that a lot. But what it had is like the Emperor, and then in the second one it had Darth Vader a lot. Then the third one, more Emperor. So I don't know. I just liked the first 3 books a lot better than the 2 prequel books. But as for actual skill, he's actually not bad. I could put him in E tier. I don't know if I can quite justify that. I'm probably just putting him there because it's biased, so I'm going to drop him down to F tier. But he is really, he's not, don't underestimate him physically, but his true power is his mind. Same with Tarkin. Tarkin is kind of the same. I would say Tarkin is less brilliant, but more ruthless. So yeah. And also Tarkin has more political power and probably slightly better understanding of the Force, though I do still think if like Space Wells came out of nowhere through Force powers, Tarkin would be completely caught off guard as well. Greedo, professional bounty hunter, not that skilled though. I'm gonna put him in F tier. Same with how am I forgetting this guy's name? Yeah, I don't remember this guy's name. Sorry. He's in case you don't recognize him, he's from Mando when he's like basically the guy that gets Mando his jobs, and then eventually Mando like decides to take Grogu back. He's the guild leader. He's like, okay, Mando, you need to give the child back, and he confronts him, and then he survives and he becomes a recurring member. He's really cool. Love his character, but I can't remember his name. Han Solo. I could see him in E tier. He's a quick shot. I mean, he shoots first on a lot of people, like Beckett, greedy people. Yeah, so I'm going to put him in F tier, but I could see him in E tier. Harrison Duel, obviously F tier. Hondo Onaka. This is a really interesting one because I don't know, maybe like 2 weeks ago, I think it was, I came across, like I was researching, I think it was Ahsoka's video, where I was researching for Ahsoka Tano versus Ventress, and he actually fights Ahsoka as well. And earlier I had been researching Anakin, and he fights Anakin as well. And he puts up a pretty good fight against Anakin. It's a lot of like luck based stuff that keeps him in the fight. So he's definitely not at that level. But I could put him in E tier, just based on his electro staff abilities. He would be an F tier, but he also seems to be pretty good with the blaster. And he's not stupid. He may be a bit overconfident, but he's not stupid. So I'm going to put him in E tier. Yeah, that one might be a bit questionable. IG-11, obviously, maybe he could be in D tier. What do you think? D tier or E tier for IG-11? I'm going to put him in D tier for now. Next is Jabba the Hutt. Don't care. Jango Fett. I'm going to put Jango Fett in D tier with Boba Fett. Surprise, surprise. Forgot this person's name. Jar Jar. Okay. So, if we operate under the assumption that Darth Jar Jar is true, I could put Jar Jar... I don't know, we've never seen him in a fight. Everyone just assumes just because he's really good at mind tricks, he's good at, like, normal stuff. He could be like Ezra, where he's uniquely good at something. Or maybe... Yeah, that could totally be it. Now, that doesn't mean he's on Ezra's level. Clearly, he's able to mind trick much more, but that doesn't necessarily mean he's quite that powerful. So, I mean, I could put him anywhere from A tier to I guess I could probably C tier is the lowest I could put him. I'll put him in B tier, right next to Gong Droid there. Next up is Jyn Erso. She's actually not bad. I still think she's F. K2SO, I'm going to put him in E. He's just really tough. Great sense of humor as well. Catches your enemies off guard. Caleb Doom, or Kanan Jarrus, whatever you want to call him. The Jedi Knight. Kanan Jarrus, Jedi Knight. I love that he introduces himself that way to Bendu, and every single time after that, Bendu calls him, like, all 4 of those. Ahsoka Tano says he is good at being dumb with a smiling emoji. And oh, I missed a bunch. Okay, I'm gonna rate Caleb Doom first and then read those. Probably C tier. We don't actually see him fight like much at all after after his duel with at the end of season 2. He goes blind, and for the rest of the season most of what we see from him is just being wise and seeing things clearly, which I love that they delved into how he sees the Force after he was blinded. It's such poetry. It's such like world building. I just love it. It's great. And he meets the Vendu, and it's awesome. Man, great. But we don't see him fight much after that. I think his fighting style would be much the same, except he would just have a better awareness, which I think was one of his strengths already. He's got really good defense. He's got a lot of awareness, and that makes him really dangerous to anyone who underestimates him. So I'm going to put him in C tier. I definitely don't think he's B tier level. Probably C tier level. All right, back to those chats. F from Old Foxy 33. I think it's because Evan Peel died. Maybe I don't know. Sorry. I think it might be IG11 when I was questioning whether I should put him in D and E, and you said F. If it is, please let me know. Jango Fett was the best bounty hunter before the Clone Wars. Yeah, I'd agree with that. Cad Bane, I don't think Cad Bane was quite there yet. I think he was, and it's difficult to know because we don't have that much content between those about the bounty hunters. Most of what we see is just like Jedi Knights, specifically Obi-Wan and Anakin and Qui-Gon. But yeah, from what I can tell, it seems like Jango Fett was the bounty hunter of that era, and then he died, and Cad Bane took over until Boba Fett took his place. That's kind of what it seems like to me, and I think that's pretty cool. So I think they should definitely do that, like establish that reputation and run with it, they being Disney, and just Lucasfilm, the story group, all those people. Ahsoka Tano, I think, is clarifying what she said before. He's good at being dumb. Jar Jar, yes, like the Gong Droid, he's very underestimated. So that's why I could put him in B tier. I mean, he takes out a droideka, no problem. Like, no one even suspects how powerful he is. But if you actually look at his feats, I mean, he's responsible for giving Chancellor Palpatine the emergency powers, which ended with Palpatine becoming like the Emperor and giving them resources to do all this cloning stuff and like basically resurrect himself. Meaning Jar Jar has the ability to create life even if it's kind of indirectly. Not only that, but like I said, he takes out a destroyer droid with a broken battle droid. Like he flicks it with his legs and it lands just right to shoot the destroyer droid. It's crazy. His precision is mind-blowing. Anyways, moving on to Kiarimundi. This is another one. We don't see much of him, and I would love to see like a whole bunch of like I don't even know, just more Clone Wars content of the master, like the Jedi Council masters and other Jedi too, like Quinlan Voss as well, and all those Jedi, Ayla Sakira, even some more of Luminar and Barriss Offee, all the ones that we don't see much of. I'd love to see either something during the Clone Wars or something before then, and they're just dealing with another threat, just to see their powers on display more and to get to know them more. Because there's a lot of cool characters on the Jedi, but we just don't know them. Because I don't know, we just didn't delve into those. I'd love to see more of those, and that goes with the High Republic too. There's not as much information about the Jedi Council members. I don't think there's a scene in the books where they go to the Jedi Council place. They probably wouldn't describe all the Jedi Council members. I don't think there's a picture of it, but I'd love to see more of those Jedi Council members and all their powers because they're very interesting. Ahsoka Tano says, yes, and I did not repeat it. Repeat, it is the same comment. Let's get being done. Okay. I'm pretty sure that's in reference to your clarification and me guessing correctly. I'm not sure. Kit Fisto. We do actually see him beat Grievous pretty well. I don't think he's quite A tier level, though. He seems like he's better than Grievous, but I don't think he's like so much better than Grievous that he's A tier. So I'm gonna put him in B tier. Kid Fisto, if you didn't know, is actually one of my favorite characters. I love his smile. I actually do that smile in real life sometimes. It's pretty great. Like not even on purpose. I just smile like that. It's awesome. Kuiil. He's such a great character, but I don't care how powerful he is. That's not his purpose in the story. Kylo Ren. Okay, this is an interesting one. There is a lot of debate on my Kylo Ren videos. I think I only have 2 actually. But anyways, there's a lot of debate about how powerful he is. I know on my Kylo Ren versus Ventress video, I had some comments that were like, Ventress would destroy him. Like, it's not even a problem. And then there was one that was like, Kylo would stomp Ventress. There's a lot of debate about how powerful he is. I think he's C tier. He's obviously extremely talented and naturally gifted, but his training is just not there. And like if you look at his like fighting style, he tends to telegraph a lot, just by bringing his blade back super far. I mean, I'm sure he has strong strikes because of that, but I mean, you just hit him while he brings it back. And sure, it's not that easy. You can't just hit them when they're bringing their blade back. But it's a lot easier when they bring their blade back that far. And the trouble with ranking Kylo is most of his adversaries are people we don't see prior to this. So you can't be like, oh, Obi-Wan beat Maul. And Count Dooku beat Obi-Wan. And Anakin beat Count Dooku. Therefore, Anakin should beat Maul. You kind of just have to... You can't do that with any of the other characters because all he fights is Rey. It's just him versus Rey, him versus Rey. Rey and him versus Praetorian Guards. Him versus Rey, him versus Rey. Him versus the Knights of Ren. And yeah. Oh, and we have a question of the stream answer from C again. It is Slave 1, you are right. That is the true name of Boba Fett's ship. You got it right. Good job, C. Glad to see you in a live stream. It's great. We have a comment from Old Foxy 33 about Kylo Ren. Not really surprised. Kylo Ren should be a B, or actually, let me give you a voice. All right. Old Foxy, Kylo Ren should be a B at minimum. He has good force powers, but I think Disney kind of didn't show his true power. And yeah, that's fair. But if they didn't show his true power, then how do you know he has that power? It doesn't make sense. I mean, sure, you could say, oh, he could have done more, but why not just show him do that? You can't attribute him powers that you never see him do. I could take a look at Chewbacca down here and say, you know what? I think he's force sensitive and is actually as fast as Yoda and as strong as Darth Vader. But I don't think Lucas or Disney showed him his power. And yes, I get that's an extreme example. I definitely don't think that, and no one does. But at the same time, like without proof, there's just nothing to stand on. So I don't know. And sure, there's other things why you'd put him in B tier. You mentioned his force powers. That's one big advantage he has against most people. He's like, okay, so in most of my videos, I bring this up. He has a force pull with Rey. Like if they're force pulling the lightsaber, it literally breaks in half. We don't know how tough lightsabers are, so that's difficult to judge, but clearly very powerful. However, we do get another marker of his power because scenes later, like real time, probably 2 hours maybe at most, like, well, I'd say 2 hours to 4 hours, something like that. Kylo Ren, or not Kylo Ren, Rey lifts up a bunch of rocks. So if Kylo Ren can force pull as much as Rey, he can probably lift as much as Rey, which means he can probably lift up that many rocks. That's a lot more than we see from most Jedi. We see like Count Dooku able to do that. We see Anakin doing that level of stuff, but we definitely don't see Kit Fisto doing that. Although he has a lot of restraint. We don't see Kiarimundi do that, though he doesn't do that much. We don't see General Grievous do that, but I mean he doesn't have the Force. But at the same time, his lightsaber dueling skills, he's strong. He's physically there, but in terms of skill, I don't know. He's just not as fast as he could be if he just had more minimalist movements. Old Foxy 33, because Disney doesn't know how to make lightsaber fights. Yes, they don't. Though Disney as a corporation, I'm sure some people there know how to make lightsaber fights. Yeah, honestly, not almost no one knows how to make lightsaber fights. I, I should preface this by saying this is very subjective. What I look for in a lightsaber fight, especially when I'm like doing research for my channel, is like logical fighting, and really no one does. There's a great channel that you should subscribe to. I mean, if you're interested, of course, called Shadiversity. They do some Star Wars content, but it's mostly like medieval stuff, like swords, castles. But he made a video about how Jedi should really fight. It doesn't look very cool. I mean, he doesn't demonstrate. He might demonstrate, but he didn't have like a lightsaber or anything. It wouldn't look very cool, but it would be accurate. And if someone did that, they would instantly be very powerful. But at the same time, it wouldn't look very cool, so they don't do that. So you have to balance looking cool with other stuff. I just don't think winding up looks cool, and I know it's not effective. So yeah, that's one of the things that bothers me always is when they wind up. Another thing that bothers me a lot is acrobatics that just are completely unnecessary. Whether it's just a quick spin or if it's like a front flip where you like I like. There's a lot of front flips that just aren't used very often. Maul does a backflip when he could have just jumped backwards. It looks cool, right? But it's just unnecessary energy lost. Another thing that bothers me. This is probably the thing that bothers me the most is reverse grips. Oh my goodness, they suck. If you have ever tried a reverse grip, it's the worst. Try it. But don't try it in a real fight. I mean, a knife, you can do a knife, but like, and I should also mention, probably don't get in a real fight. But if you find yourself in a sword fight, don't do reverse grip. It's stupid. It's the worst. Now, Jedi have more acrobatics. They can kind of deal with that a bit more. But at the same time, I don't know, it bothers me. Like this picture of Ahsoka right here. It looks cool. But she's got double reverse grips. Who would do that? Ugh. Terrible. We have a Ahsoka Tano. Chewie was beaten in strength by Vader. They are not that bad. Yeah. Okay, first of all, I don't know where that information is coming from, so yeah, but the other, I would not be surprised. That is very logical to me. I do like that. Vader has the Force. Honestly, okay, who do you think would win in a, like, not an arm wrestle, because that's so, like, dependent on position, and there's no way to make those fair, but who do you think would win if it was, like, a strength contest? Like, pure brute strength. Count Dooku or Chewbacca? I want to see your answers in the chat. I think that one might be pretty close, but I actually think Dooku would win, even though he's much skinnier, much less fit. He just has the Force, and that's such a big advantage. Yeah, so I'm going to move on to the next character, which is L3. Yeah, I don't really care. She's not... Same with Lando. I guess I can put him in F tier just because I have Han up there. Luke Skywalker. Here we go. Here's a character that is going to spark some debate as well. He's a lot like Kylo Ren. He's got a lot of potential, but just not that much training. I'm going to put him in C tier. He's kind of... These characters, they just don't have that much training. Luke learns really quickly. He's not quite as bad in his form as Kylo Ren. But then, at the same time, he doesn't use his Force powers in combat, like, at all. Like, Kylo Ren doesn't do it that much, but he actually does it. Luke just... I mean, he Force pulls his lightsaber once. I think... I mean, obviously he does in the comics, and he definitely does in The Mandalorian, but this is young Luke. Young Luke doesn't do that very much. And if you're wondering when he Force pulls his lightsaber, and it's in his fight with Vader on Cloud City, Vader disarms him, he jumps out of the pit, and then Force pulls his lightsaber just in time to block a blow. That's a simplified version of it, but that's where it is. I don't think there's any other time where he uses the Force in combat, and obviously, I'm not talking about like Force augmentation and Force senses. I'm just talking about his visible Force powers like telekinesis and all that kind of stuff. Yeah, so we have some comments. Darth Vader should be lower down than Anakin. And then Ahsoka Tano says, yes, but Obi-Wan confirmed that Vader is stronger. So I'd be interested to hear where that is confirmed, because I don't know where that source is. That's speaking to Ahsoka Tano. As for Old Foxy 33, I do have a video coming out. I'm not going to spoil it, but I'm not going to. I did say I was going to like rate them, even in their tiers. I'll do that later. I was originally going to do it at first, but I'll do that later. Because it just takes too much thought. So I'll just put them in their tiers and then go through each tier and rank them there. Darth Vader, I'm not going to rank these two because that'll spoil what I think. And honestly, I made it a while ago and I just have it pre-uploaded. So it'll come out whenever. So I don't remember what I chose. I'm pretty sure I remember who I decided would win. But this is a close fight for sure. So, yeah. I'd be interested to hear more of your thoughts on that. Luminara on Dooley. Oops, I'm accidentally clicking stuff. There we go. Luminara on Dooley. So she is Jedi. I'm going to put her right next to Barriss. Obviously, she's a master. She's very, like, refined. But the thing a lot of people forget when they're like, and this isn't a lot of people. I've heard this, like, maybe, like, 2 people talking about this. But then again, I only hear, like, 5 or 6 people who actually rate stuff. And, like, half of them do just Legends stuff. So Luminara, she's a master. But master, like, you don't become a master by fighting really good. That's definitely not a Jedi thing. And that's definitely not what they did, even in the prequels. So she can be down in C tier while still being a master. That being said, most masters are like better just because of their experience and their understanding, but I don't think she's quite there yet. She's just too passive. Yeah, not enough like just strength, momentum, whatever you want to call it. She just doesn't have that fighting spirit. Mace Windu. Oh yeah, this guy. You know what? I kind of hate Mace Windu, but at the same time, he's just really cool. In terms of fighting, he's definitely A tier. Like when coming up with like where I would put characters, I think Mace Windu is almost like the perfect A tier representation. He's like right there as what I think of when I think of an A tier. Moving on to Mando. I love that line. I'm gonna put him probably. I could see him in D tier, but I'm gonna put him in E tier for now. He's got the Beskar, which is really good when going against Jedi. And this D tier is kind of where Jedi and Bounty Hunter meet. You've got like Jango Fett who can take on Jedi. You've got Ezra Bridger who is just a fairly inexperienced Jedi. So that's kind of where that is. So Mando might be able to take on Jedi just because of his Beskar armor, but when you compare him to other blaster building opponents, he's probably a bit further down. You know, now that I think on that more, I'm gonna put IG-11 down in E tier because I definitely don't think he could take on Ezra, or he might be able to take on Cad Bane, but I'm gonna put him in E tier. I could see them both being up in D tier. It's close, but not quite there. Ahsoka Tano says, "Sorry, I need to go now. See you, Ahsoka Tano. Glad we get to have you. Goodbye, old friend." Old Foxy 33 says, actually, wait, I should read in chronological order. Darth Vader should be lower. Oh, I already got that one. I think it's already out. I'm not sure. That was probably in reference to something I said, but I don't remember what I said. Yeah, so more clarification on that if you want. Maz Kanata, don't care, not her purpose in the story. Talzin. This is a very interesting one. Oh man, I forget who I was talking to about this. I'm pretty sure, yeah, it was Ahsoka Tano. We were talking about this a lot in, I think it was stream, or my review of Bad Batch episode 12 in the comments. She was thinking S tier for this, or should, like, about S tier level with those characters. But I actually think she's down in A tier. There is an instance in a comic. It's the comic where Darth Maul escapes from prison, and then it's after the Clone Wars, after Sidious captures him, and then he escapes, and then they have this duel or like this battle. Maul eventually escapes, but Talzin is killed. It's in there where she actually, like, Sidious is shooting his lightning at her, and she's matching it with his like green mystical energy because she's a witch. But And that would put her on that tier that she can defend Sidious, or like so you would think. But I just don't think that one feat is enough to put her there, because if she was that powerful, she would be able to have done a lot more against the Separatists than she did when they attacked. There's just a lot of instances where she could have used that power and she just didn't. So I think what I'm gonna have to say on that is it's probably not actually, like she's not actually that powerful. That was probably more defensive, and she was just fending him off. Because ultimately, we don't see her overpower Sidious. We don't see it come to a stalemate like we do with Sidious and Yoda. We just see them kind of locked together, and Sidious can't quite win. It'd be like, now, don't hear this wrong. It's not necessarily like this, but it theoretically could be like if Sidious was going up against Maul and Maul was just running away, except Sidious would use the Force. But let's say someone like Yoda going up against Maul, and Maul is just running away, and Yoda's chasing after him with his lightsaber because Yoda's reactionary. He doesn't use the Force unless he's met with Force. Well, he uses it first, but if he's met with the lightsaber, he uses his lightsaber. Anyways, Maul is running away, and eventually the battle comes to an end because, I don't know, some Separatist army arrives and they both run away. That's kind of what it could be like. I mean, it totally could be the other way around. It could be more like Talzin is chasing off General Grievous, and General Grievous is just running away and eventually escapes because he's General Grievous. It could be that too, but I just think based on her other feats, she's probably an A. Next we've got something Numb. I think it's Nime Numb or something. Newt Gunray, Obi-Wan Kenobi, General Kenobi. So I'm going to put him in A tier. Obi-Wan is very defensive. He's very tough. It'd be very easy to underestimate him, but at the same time, he's a main character, so I guess it's easy to overestimate him too. I could put him in B tier, but I think he's better than all these guys. I could put him in 8, or I could put him in A tier, where he's kind of just one of the lowest of the pack. Obviously, Maul is worse than him. We see that numerous times. But I think he's an A tier, just not high A tier. Older Kenobi, and this is actually gonna, I'll probably talk about this a bit later when I'm revising like where people go in their tiers, but I'm gonna put him above Older Kenobi. Next we have Han Solo, but the old version. I'm gonna put him right next to that Han Solo because it doesn't seem to be that affected. Same with Lando. Luke Skywalker is an old person. Yeah, I'm gonna put him in S tier. I don't think I need to defend this too much. The difficulty with him is he just doesn't have that many feats. But I mean, I think if you watch one of my videos, I'll put up a pretty good amount of feats for him, enough to solidify him as belonging in that tier. One of the most ridiculous ones, and this, I just love pointing this out, his fishing in The Last Jedi with a giant spear, he is not using the Force to augment his muscles at all. That is his natural strength. And we know this because he's cut off from the Force. So he's lifting that with his natural strength. His strength with the Force, like that alone is just insane. And then you also have just how instinctively he uses the Force after that. And then he lifts the X-Wing in Rise of Skywalker. He's got all sorts of powers. And then we have Leia, but old version. Actually, I don't think we did young version. There's young version. I'm going to put them right next to Lando, because why not? They're basically at level. Same with Padme. Right next to Hera and Jyn Erso and all the strong female characters. Yay. Except for the actually, like, really strong one here. Plo Koon. Again, this is another Jedi we don't see much of. I would love to see more of him. Jedi Council level. I'm going to put him up there in B tier. We got a comment. Old Luke is worse than Anakin, Darth Vader, basically all of the A tier. Okay. Why do you say that? Because if you watch her duel with, or not her, if you watch his duel with Rey, that's actually one of my favorite duels. Well, there's only 2 of them, but it's one of my favorite duels in The Last Jedi. If I were to, that one, you know what? That is my favorite duel in the sequels, is Luke versus Rey. All right, Old Foxy 33 says, I'm going to assume that's basically I'm going. Yes, there we go. edited. I'm going to go. I might be back later. All right. Thanks for stopping by, Old Foxy 33. Goodbye, old friend. Okay, so I don't know. If you want to see my full thoughts on Luke Skywalker as an old person, watch what do you call it? I've got Luke versus the father from Mortis, and Luke versus the I also have the daughter from Mortis, and also I did Luke versus a whole bunch of like super battle droids and all that fun stuff. So check out those videos. I'll probably be doing more in the future, of course. But yeah, so if you want to see my full thoughts, or if Old Foxy 33 comes back and he wants to debate that more, I'll definitely go into it again in further detail. But I think for now, I'm just going to move on to the next character, which is Poe Dameron. Excellent pilot. F tier, though. Sorry. Krell. General Pong Krell. This guy. Oh, man, he's a bad guy. The most vile of them. I'm going to put him in B tier. Over with General Grievous. I think comparing him to General Grievous is a pretty good comparison in terms of skill level. Tactically, he's overconfident. There's no doubt about it. But he also has the Force, so I think comparing those two are pretty equal. And I think he could put up a good fight against like Plo Koon and Kit Fisto and all those. Even though they might win, I think Krell would put up a good fight. So yeah, next we have Kira, who again pretty skilled, but I mean maybe E tier. I'm gonna put her in F tier though. Qui-Gon Jin. This is a lot of people's favorite character. One of my favorite characters just because of his philosophy. But in terms of actual power, we don't see that much from him. So I'm going to put him in C tier. Kind of by like Luminara. Luminara, and this is actually one of my favorite older videos, is Qui-Gon Jinn versus Luminara Unduli. Oh man, that was fun to write. Yeah, I don't know. And Qui-Gon did eventually win, but it was a close battle. And I think you put him up against like General Grievous, he stands no chance. Next up, we got R2-D2. R2-D2, one of those characters. Everyone in the show underestimates him, but we all know he's like one of the best. So, okay, maybe not one of the best, but definitely E tier. He's better than Phasma for sure, and Rex stands no chance. Okay, and the Rancor. Okay, so this is really interesting because I didn't like select all these characters, hence I have a whole bunch where I don't care. But one of the interesting things is they have like a Rancor and a Wampa, and I think that's it. But they have these like beasts, which I think is really fun. And I actually want to do more of these. Like, actually, I haven't done any of them, but I've thought about it. I want to do like some, I don't know, like who would I even do? Like a General Grievous versus Rancor or something. Obviously, General Grievous would easily win that because he has lightsabers. But maybe I could do like weaponless General Grievous versus Rancor or something, or just some more of these like man versus giant beast. Or I could do like, I don't know, Chewbacca versus a Rancor. No, Chewbacca would lose. I'm gonna put the Rancor in D tier. Yeah, maybe E tier though, because I feel like Jango Fett and Boba Fett would pretty easily win. Same with Ezra Bridger. But you go up against someone like Embo, it's close. Chewbacca, I said Chewbacca would lose. He'd put up a good fight though, I think. R2-D2 would for sure win, of course. Sure, and what I don't know, the Rancor is close. I'm gonna put him in E tier for now. That might change when I go by and revise where everyone is in their list. Okay, we got a comment from Old Foxy 33. Old Luke can't stop. Old Luke can't do crap in lightsaber combat. He also lacks force powers. So, okay. So, in terms of lightsaber combat, he has one duel. And he's not using a lightsaber in it. He's fighting Rey, who has a staff. So, if you say he can't do crap with a lightsaber, well, sure, we never see him in a lightsaber duel. But we can infer based on, one, his strength with a fishing pole, which I mentioned. And please no, I'm not attacking you as a person, just your arguments. Or just the arguments you're using. Or never mind. You know what I mean. I'm not attacking you personally. Or at least I'm not trying to. So, Luke, we see his strength with him lifting the fishing pole. That alone is impressive. Definitely stronger than Vader, I would think. Especially when he uses the Force again. Then we have his duel with Rey, where he again demonstrates his strength when he blocks her staff attacks with one hand. So she's got all the leverage of a staff. Her hands are like like a foot and a half apart. That's a lot of leverage. Not to mention, she's not like one of her strengths is her strength. She's faster or pretty fast, but in terms of skill, she's not that good. But in strength, she's got some power. Obviously not quite like a Luke Skywalker, but she's got some strength. But she's got so much leverage, and Luke blocks it with one hand, like Vader did to him. That demonstrates strength. Then we see his speed. And this goes along right with his skill, because it takes both of these, and he pairs them together really well. Again, her staff, like leverage, should give her an advantage in speed, because she has more control. The downgrade is reach, but he doesn't really take advantage of that. He doesn't need to. He leans back, but he leans back in such a way that if she had a longer blade, he would still have dodged it, and he would probably not. Right. I don't need to go into that. Anyways, he leans back and easily taps her on the shoulder. It's a light tap. It's a very casual tap. He folds his hands in front of him after it. It's very embarrassing for Rey, because she just got absolutely clowned on by Luke. The only reason he loses is because she pulls out a lightsaber. And even then, I still think he could have won, but why would he? Why would he fight her? He has no reason to. So we just see his skill there if you really stop and analyze it. Other than that, we don't have any feats from him. We see his fight with Kylo, but, he's a force projection. Maybe that's his skill level, but I don't think so. And if that is his skill level, okay, never mind, it's Cad Bane. He telegraphs a lot. But I was going to say it's pretty impressive. His speed there is, like dodging a lightsaber, that's impressive. More impressive than choreographers would have you think. So yeah, as for force powers, you're right. We don't see a lot of power until the Rise of Skywalker, where he lifts up an X-wing. But that's as a Force Ghost. I don't know how Force Ghosts affect her power. Maybe it's infinite power, but then why? I don't know. It's really baffling to me that they decided to give Force Ghosts the ability to affect the physical world, whether with a tap with a what do you call it, stick, or with what do you call it? Oh man, I'm blanking. Or lifting the X-wing of the Force. On the other hand, in The Empire Strikes Back, Obi-Wan does brush her aside like a bunch of vines, but then again, that's due to the effects. Disney could have just not had him tap the face with a stick, or just not made an audible noise with it. I don't know. There's a lot of things they could have done. But, so, we don't see lots of feats from Luke. But that doesn't mean he's not powerful. We don't see many feats from, like, say, for example, Evan Peel or Gong Droid, but that doesn't mean they're not powerful. They belong in their places. At least I think so. They're more debatable, but I think he's definitely more powerful than... I definitely think he's better than B tier. I could see him in A tier, but I just think he's S tier. He's one of those characters that... Not only do we see feats from him like that, but it would make sense. With his natural talent that he demonstrated all throughout the original trilogy, and then even more so in The Mandalorian. Like, we see what 5 years of training, of actual, like, experience as a Jedi can do to a person. He goes from, like deflecting a few blaster bolts with his eyes closed in A New Hope. I think it's about 5 years. I think it's actually 4, but it might be 5. Anyways, several years later, in Return of the Jedi, he's taking on Darth Vader and doing a decent job at it. I might have to put him in B tier because of that, because I don't know. That fight is very debatable. There's a lot of nuances in there. Anyways, so later he's like matching Vader in strength. Again, debatable. But then 5 years after that, he's taking on a platoon of Dark Troopers and making it look easy. So imagine another 20 years of experience added to that. Obviously, you slow down how as you get more and more talented or more skilled, you tend to slow down in your growth. But still, add 20 years to that. He's at least S tier. And in my opinion, of course. You're allowed to disagree with me. Just as I'm allowed to disagree with you. But that's why I think he's an S tier. And that's by no means me saying that I like what they did with him in the sequels. I don't have as much of a problem with it. I feel like they could have gotten away with it though with better writing, which kind of frustrates me. But I don't know. Yeah, I've already gone into my thoughts on that in my Last Jedi review, although I have refined my thoughts a bit since then. I don't know, this whole YouTube thing, it makes me think a lot more about Star Wars, and that's part of why I like it. But I'm going to move on to a character I'm sure you're going to love, Rey. Rey, yeah, just Rey. Let's put her next to Kylo Ren, because obviously they're best buds, they like being together, great. Okay, not Babu Frick. This is the guy from Solo with 4 arms. I really like this guy. I didn't want him to die, but he died. Rose Tico, another one, don't care. Sabine Wren. Ooh, this is an interesting one. I really liked this character for a while. Her theme, her like do 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 do. Love that theme. It's awesome. Trials of the Darksaber, maybe my favorite arc in Rebels. I think, maybe D tier, maybe E tier. I'm gonna put her in E tier. Although, if she shows up in Ahsoka and has a big power upgrade, I could totally see her being higher. And I'm excited to see that. If that does happen. I'm really excited for that Ahsoka TV series. Like, there's so much potential for it. And now that I verbalize that and think about that a bit, I'm kind of scared now. Because as soon as you get excited for something, there's a bigger chance that you're going to be disappointed. But I think it's going to be good. I hope it's going to be good. All right, we got Salacious Crumb. This is Jabba's like little Kowakian monkey lizard guy. I can't do his noise. I was gonna try, but then my dry voice didn't work. So I'm gonna take a drink of water and then not try, because that would be embarrassing. But yeah, I love this guy's sound effects. He's great. He's annoying, but that's kind of the point. Satine Cries, again, her point is not to be a warrior, so I'm not gonna rate her. Savage Opress. Okay. This guy is really interesting in power level. So when they first see him, he's just a normal Night Brother. But then the Night Sisters get a hold of him, and they turn him into this like giant monster dude who's capable to lift his, like, I think it's his brother, maybe cousin or something. Anyways, he's able to lift that guy up with his bare hands. He's able to take on Anakin and Obi-Wan at the same time. He's able to take on Count Dooku with the help of Ventress. And keep in mind, in that fight, he had a big weakness. Dooku did not tell him that he can just block force lightning with his lightsaber. So he just gets zapped over and over and over again. It's great. I love that detail. It's so cool. Just the way Count Dooku just keeps an advantage over Savage Opress, just so that if he is betrayed, it works. And that strategy worked flawlessly. Anyways, that aside, Savage Opress is like clearly extremely powerful. Like, he goes like for the first time to start lifting up those giant obelisk things that Count Dooku had him do, and he's able to lift up like 2 of them. Like, sure, it's only 2, whereas Dooku was able to lift up like, I think 6. It might have been like 8 or 10 though. I don't remember. It was a lot of them anyways. But he's able to lift up 2 of them. Those are really heavy, and that's like a first try. So he is clearly very powerful. But then he runs away, and he meets up with Maul, and Maul is able to easily beat him. So he goes from like beating Anakin and Obi-Wan at once to like losing to the Maul. So here's my theory on that, and this is total headcanon. You definitely don't have to subscribe to this theory, but I think it's actually pretty cool. So basically, what I think is the Night Sisters, while he was under their control, he was more powerful. Because that would explain how he goes from fighting Anakin and Obi-Wan to losing them all. He's just more powerful when he's under the control of the Night Sisters. And he does take on Anakin and Obi-Wan pretty soon after getting freed from Ventress, but that could just be like a delay of like, oh, he just escaped, whatever. So that's my whole thoughts on him. I think that's pretty interesting. I don't know. Let me know your thoughts on that in the comments in the chat, because I'd love to have that theory challenged and more ideas about it. And just, you could also just share that theory and see what other places like. Yeah, I don't know. I might post that in the Star Wars Theory forums, because I don't know. Yeah. Oh well. Okay. So yeah, that's where I'm going to put him. Savage Opress in B tier. Okay, next up we have Shmi. Don't care. Snoke. All right, so this one, I think I'm going to be disagreed a lot on this one, but I'm actually going to put him in A tier. And the reason I did this, and actually, so what I think most of you are going to say is he should be in S tier. He's a lot like Sidious. He should be next to Sidious, right? But I actually don't think so. I did a battle with him and Sidious. I think it was my second video. And, like, he matched Sidious in almost every way. His telekinesis was a little bit stronger, but Sidious was smarter. But the biggest difference, was Sidious had a lightsaber. If Sidious got close to Snoke at all, Snoke is done for. He's just dead. There is no defenses he can do against that. Unless he can block it with Two Dominus, but I don't think he's that powerful. Especially not with Two Dominus, which is traditionally a light side power. So, I mean, his lack of a lightsaber just makes him a lot less powerful. So I'm going to put him in A tier. And the reason I really feel confident in putting him in A tier is because when I did a battle between him and Windu, a Star Wars duel between him and Windu, I actually had Windu win. Like, I looked at all the evidence, started writing it out, and I'm like, I just don't see Snoke winning this. Like, sure, his lightning is cool, but Windu can block that. Sure, his force pushes are cool, but Windu can match that and also survive it. What's really going to end this fight is Windu's speed coming in and slicing Windu. Now, that's not to say Snoke is weaker than Windu. You go up against, like, a Vader, I think Vader would beat Windu. You go up against, or Snoke goes up against Vader, I could see Snoke beating Vader. It's a difference in style, because Windu's very aggressive. He's going to be able to get close and take out Snoke, whereas Snoke might be able to keep his distance and eventually wear through Vader. Then again, Vader's tough. Like, that one's more debatable. I've put less thought into that. But it's not necessarily that Windu is more powerful, but I do think Windu would win. And so I can't put Snoke in S tier when he would lose all of them and even some in A tier. But of course, you can disagree with me. Stormtroopers, much like the battle droids, I mean, if you want, I can cover them. They're going to be just like H tier or something. Okay, maybe not quite that low. F tier. Like, Finn is here, I guess, in F tier. But that's just because he has plot armor. Really, these guys, and Finn too, would be in G tier. Same with probably like Leia and Han and a whole bunch of these guys. Chopper, Dryden Vos. But as it is, I just don't want to vote for them. And the other thing is you could just do like 10 of them, but I don't know. Okay, we have a comment from C. I think Savage is less powerful than Maul, but I also think he lost so easily because he respect him. If it weren't for his brother, he would lost, but not so easily. Okay. I can definitely see that. I disagree, just because I think if Maul is able to let go of their brother attachment, and also the fact that Savage was arguing that they should not have domination between them. So if he's going to get beaten by Maul, like, he wouldn't let that happen. That's not his motivation. That's, of course, my opinion. I see your point. It's a very valid point. But there's also his duels with Kenobi and Adi Gallia. If he was as powerful as he was against Anakin Obi-Wan, where he could just throw them off, Adi Gallia would just be knocked to the ground, just flattened after one strike. And, of course, it's just my thoughts on it, but I don't know. Next we have Beckett. Pretty good shot. F tier. I don't see him quite on level with E tier. Although I do think he's probably a bit better than Han Solo. Han Solo's probably a bit faster, but he's just got the two guns. He's a bit more agile. Don't remember her name, but Beckett's girlfriend. We don't really see that much from her. So I'm going to put her next to Beckett. I'm assuming they're about as powerful. Next we have a Wampa. So yeah, Wampas, they look scary, but honestly, I think like all the guys in F tier could stand up to them. All the guys in E tier would easily take them out. You just have a blaster, you're going to take out a Wampa. I mean, maybe not easily, but I think you could do it. Han, I think, could definitely, forgot her name, not going to talk about it. Dryden Vos, I think he could beat a Wampa. Obviously, like Cody and Rex would, Bosk would for sure. Man, Bosk would totally destroy the Wampa because he's a hunter. Trandoshans. Next we got Watto, don't care. Ewok, don't care. Yoda. Where do you think I'm going to put Yoda? Probably... Man, this is getting big. S tier, of course. I mean, obviously, he's up there with Palpatine. I think he's up there with Luke, too, but that's less objectively proven. It's more subjective. Next, we have a young Boba Fett. And this is the Boba Fett in a cadet uniform. I don't like that. I'm going to treat him as though he's in that one episode where Ventress goes on her first bounty hunter mission. And grade him there, because weaponless Boba is, of course, not as good as weapon Boba. And I'm going to put not weapon Boba in E tier. He is, like, at that point in his life, he has such a head start on everyone else. I mean, he's just got incredible skill. I think he did better than all of the other bounty hunters, which makes sense because he is seen as the leader, even though he's young. That just shows how skilled of a warrior Jango Fett turned him into. Now, I think he invested more in his tracking and hunting after that, but he still retained that skill and still improved as well, which is why I put him in D tier above that. So he's not quite that good, of course, but I think he's E tier there easily. Well, okay, maybe not easily, but he is E tier, I think. That's a pretty solid one. Next, we got Han Solo, but the younger version. I'm going to put him next to the other Han Solos, right after old Han Solo. Same with Lando, who we have up next here. Lando goes next to other Landos, right there. And Zero the Hutt, don't care. Don't forget Zori Bliss, don't care. Callus, Agent Callus. This guy, I'm gonna rate him probably. I don't know, because I'm gonna put him in F tier. I could see him being an E tier almost, but not quite. He's a F tier. He's just, and keep in mind, these people in F tier, they're not bad, but they're just not prodigies, right? So, next we got, I'm going to do Bo-Katan next. And Bo-Katan, not going in F tier, probably D tier, because I think she could take on Ezra Bridger and Cad Bane and Aurra Sing. I think she might lose to all of them, but she could maybe beat Ezra, but I think she belongs to D tier. Next, we got Cal Kestis and BD1. I'm going to put them right next to each other, and I'm going to put them up in D tier. I mean, he's just kind of like Ezra Bridger. He's a Jedi apprentice with kind of mediocre powers. Obviously, he's got talent, but he just doesn't have quite the level of training I would want from someone higher. Like Kanan Jarrus, I think is just a bit better. And also, I think Kanan Jarrus is just a bit more balanced in terms of his strategy and mindset. Next, we have Seer. I think Sierra Junta or something. I'm going to call her Seer, though. I'm going to say she's cut off from the Force. To my knowledge, and keep in mind, I am by no means an expert of Jedi Fallen Order. That's one of my weak areas is games, that and comics, especially comics. Just because there hasn't been many games, right? But to my knowledge, we don't really see her in combat that much. She shoots at the second sister, I know that. In a cutscene, she gets thrown off the side by Vader. That's not surprising. Cal Kestis would do that too, I'm sure, if he ran at Vader like that. But she did somehow survive. That's impressive. I'm going to put her in F tier. We just don't know. And she's cut off from the Force, so she doesn't have any Jedi powers anymore. Grease, the pilot guy. Yeah, I don't really care. He's pilot. Iden Versio. Oh my goodness. This takes me back. I haven't read her book in a while, and obviously haven't seen the game in a while even more. I'm going to put her in E. She's not bad. Definitely. She's one of the best. She's, like, if you read the book, just the way she's brought up, yeah, it's not talent. It's training. She's really, really good. But, I mean, she doesn't have the Force. She's just not a prodigy. So she's not a Boba Fett. She's not a Jango Fett. But she's better than a Rex or a Cody. Well, actually, I might have to, like, move Rex and Cody up. Yeah, I'm going to keep them there for now. Next we have, I'm blanking on her name, the Night Sister that you find in Jedi Fallen Order, who survived the massacre. Again, my expertise is definitely not in games. I don't remember her power set very well. I know she traps the one guy in the stone. I don't remember any of her other feats, honestly. So definitely correct me if you think I'm wrong, but I'm going to say E tier. I don't think she's quite Cal Kestis level. And I think Luminar and... Oh, wait. No, Luminar is one above. I don't think, like, Cad Bane would boost her either. Yeah, but I don't know. That's mostly speculation because I haven't seen the game in a while. Next, we have Pre Vizsla, the leader of Death Watch and the Mandalorians. He's got the Darksaber. He's not afraid to use it. I'm going to put him in D tier. I think he can take on most Jedi. Ahsoka Tano beats him. Obviously, Maul beats him as well. He puts up a really good fight against Maul, which I could, just based on that fight, I'd put him in C tier. But he also loses to Ahsoka. You know, I almost put him in C tier, but not quite. He's right up there with, like, Jango Fett and Boba Fett. Definitely an underestimated character. Next we have the Martez sisters. Honestly, they're just kind of generic smugglers. Ooh, we got Saw Gerrera. Yeah, F tier. He's not that interesting. The Grand Inquisitor. Alright, here we go. So, the Grand Inquisitor is a Jedi hunter. But he's kind of just a mediocre Jedi hunter. He doesn't hunt like if Mace Windu showed up. I don't think he would. I don't want him to. Definitely not that. And I might make a video about that, even though I've already covered that in live stream. I might make a new one, just because I see this idea so much, and I just don't like it at all. And I think I've refined my thoughts a bit since then. But I'm gonna put him in C tier. He's kind of got that, just almost good, but not quite. He's about that level. He's not like an apprentice level, like Ezra Bridger or Cal Kestis, but he's not like a master level, like Kit Fisto or Krell, General Pong Krell. Next we have the second sister, and this is where I'm gonna pretty much put all Inquisitors. If they were on the list, they're not on the list. But they would pretty much all go in D tier for me, right along with Cal Kestis and Ezra Bridger and all those guys, except for the seventh sister. I think the seventh sister is almost a C tier, almost Grand Inquisitor level. I think Grand Inquisitor just edges her out a bit, mostly because of his knowledge. But man, the seventh sister's robots are so helpful. I might eventually do a video comparing her to another character, and you'll see my full thoughts on it then. But man, she's pretty skilled. Admiral Akbar, don't care. Bail Organa, don't care. Baru Lars, don't care. Cobb Vanth. Oh man, I thought this guy was going to be a Boba Fett, but he just stole his armor. That's fine too. I like it. I love that they have in The Mandalorian. Great reference to the books. And they kind of flesh out his character a bit. The one thing I don't like is they don't call it Freetown. They call it like Mos Paula or something. And they really just should have called it Freetown, because that's what it's called. And I think that actually fits better. Or maybe Mando calls it Mos Pelga, and he goes, no, we call it Freetown around here. Or something like that. I think that'd be cool. But you can't have everything you have. I'm going to put him in E tier. Really, he's only good because of the armor. If you take away the armor, he's F tier. But with the armor, I'd put him in E tier. He's pretty good at using it. He's not terrible, but he's just average. Next, we have a whole bunch of characters from Legends. As I mentioned earlier, this is canon. I mean, I could put these guys up in S tier because that's where I think they would go, but I haven't played the games. Basically, all my knowledge from Legends comes from Antoine Bandelli's Versus series. That's where half of it comes from. So, I don't know. Which, sure, it's combat, so that's why I have a general idea that it should be an S tier. But I don't know the actual source material. And that was a long time ago when I was like more into that, because obviously Antoine Bandelli doesn't post as many Star Wars videos. And the other thing is it's all Legends, which I'm just not as interested in, because I'd rather invest in canon, which is ongoing, than Legends, which is obviously it's still there, but it's not growing. Next we have Dengar. Honestly, I never really liked Dengar. He's just kind of kind of bland. F tier. It goes in with his blandness. He doesn't have any cool gadgets. I don't like. He's just got a blaster. He's a human. He's not Embo. Not interesting. Next we have. Oh man, I'm forgetting this guy's name. Man, I love this guy's backstory, even though I don't know it. If his backstory is done right, it's gonna be awesome. But I'm blanking on his name. Dexter Jetster. Oh yeah, what a cool name. No wonder why people like him so much. I'm gonna put him. Yeah, I don't care. I love his. I'm very interested if they ever make a backstory for him. I don't think most people would, especially not like the casual fan would definitely not be interested in it. But man, I mean, he knows a Jedi, and the Jedi knows him for his knowledge about poison darts. Oh, there's gotta be a rich backstory there. How many people are friends with a Jedi? Like, wow, backstory, crazy. Next we have Paul the Lesser. Don't care. I'm gonna go Wat. I'm gonna just get rid of a bunch of ones I don't care. Wat Tambor, Frog Lady, Tatooine Lady who takes care of Mando's ship, and of course Starkiller. Man, do I have thoughts about him? But I've never played the game, so I'm not gonna rate him. Quinlan Voss. Yeah, so Quinlan Voss is a Jedi Master. So naturally he's got some skill there, just because he's a Jedi and because he's so experienced. I'm going to put him in the B tier. I think he's about the level of Kit Fisto. I did a video between him and Fisto. And Fisto did ultimately win, but it was a close battle. So I'm going to put him in B tier. I just think he's at about that level. He could take on Grievous. He might win. I'm not actually sure. Now, there is one thing to note here. In the book Dark Disciple, he does take on Count Dooku. And he actually wins. However, he also takes on Cad Bane with the help of Obi-Wan Kenobi. And Cad Bane makes them look like idiots. So, while I could put him in A tier, I just don't think he could. The other thing is his duel with Dooku is in a book, so it's really hard to analyze and say, oh, it was luck, or oh, it was just a stylistic thing. But I think that's what I have to put it down to, because him and Kenobi let Cad Bane escape. And sure, Cad Bane is really talented, but Kenobi by himself should have been able to at least get close, and with Quinlan Voss's help, it should have been a piece of cake for them. Especially if Quinlan Voss was like in A tier. But I just don't think he is. B tier for him. Really skilled though, just not that skilled. Next we got Wedge Antilles, F tier. Fennec Shand. I'm gonna put Fennec Shand up in. Let's put her in D tier. So, yeah, you know what? I'll get into that later. I'm gonna put her there so I'll remember. There we go. Okay. Next we have May Feltz. You know, episode 6 or chapter 6 of the first season of Mandalorian. I loved that. I loved that episode. We got to know these. We didn't really get to know them, but there's these cool characters that we get to see, and they have such interesting personality. Like, sure, they don't have much depth that we know of, but it's just kind of like you see them interact, and they're unique enough to where you can kind of understand where they are as a person. And then we see Mayfeld in chapter, what is it, 15, I think? I think it was the second to last one of season 2. Either way, episode 7 of season 2. And man, he is great in that episode. The acting is so good. The storytelling is great. There's tie-ins to stuff not mainstream, like I forget what it's called, like whatever Palpatine's contingency plan or whatever that destroyed basically destroyed the Empire. There's callbacks to that, which totally makes sense. It's not fan service. It's just good storytelling because it ties into what you've said before. Man, I love that. As for him in power level, obviously he's no Boba Fett, but I think, I'm going to put him in F tier. See, he's like high F tier. F tier is so varied. You've got like Captain Rex, but then you've got like Leia Organa. and like Wedge Antilles. I might just put Wedge and don't care. Like there's such a wide range there, and you've got like Bosk, and then you've got like a Wampa or Agent Callus. It's so varied, and that's just because a lot of these guys I would probably almost never do a video on, just because it'd be like, oh, jump to cover, and like this is probably just very subjective, but I don't really like gunfights that much in movies. They can be interesting, but I've always preferred like swords and spears. It's a lot easier to understand the concepts of how to fight effectively with those. And that is, of course, assuming there's just as much concepts, because I don't really know. From my perspective, it seems like there's a lot more skill going into swords, but that's just because of, like, I've played with, like, fake swords. Not balanced right or anything like that, but, they're a blade on a stick. And I've seen, like, Star Wars has lightsaber duels. I love analyzing those. But the gunfights are just kind of get cover and shoot over the cover, hope you hit them. Like, that's my perspective on it. So, who was I talking about? I forget. I'm just gonna end this, whatever tangent I'm on, with, I'm probably not gonna do videos on these people. Oh, I remember what it was. I'm probably not gonna do videos on these F-tier people as much, because a lot of them are just gunfighters, and I don't know how to write that. I don't know how to compare Rex's skill to Cody's skill. Rex looks cooler. He can shoot faster. He wins, I guess. I don't know. And yeah, so a lot of these guys you probably won't see videos on. So that's why there's such a wide range, is because they're just kind of extra space. I need to put them somewhere. All right, moving on to forgot this guy's name. I remember his actor though. Giancarlo Esposito. Cool name, by the way. Man, I'm forgetting his name. Moff Gideon. I got it. It's Moff Gideon. Anyways, so we see Moff Gideon in one fight, and then he shoots a blaster. That's not a lot to go on. He loses to Mando with the Darksaber. Without the Darksaber, actually, he wasn't that good with the Darksaber. He'd probably be better with after the blaster anyways. Yeah, melee weapons are overrated. I just went on a rant on how much cooler they are. Yeah, that's why they're overrated. Not really a rant, just a tangent. Yeah, he loses to Mando. I'm going to put him in F tier. Maybe high F tier. I'm not really sure. Again, we don't see much from him. All right, someone we see less from, Shaak Ti. And this is kind of when I wish I did Legends, but nope. That's too much information. All right, we got Shaak Ti, arbitrarily put her in tier B. I don't remember a single feat of hers. Maybe in the Battle of Camino. I'm not sure. But definitely no duels. And again, this only Legends. There might be something in the comics. I haven't read those. Yeah, but I don't know. I'm going to put her in B tier because that's kind of where I think she would go. Just because she's a council member. All right, next up, we got the Bendu, who honestly, I've never really thought about the Bendu before in terms of power level. I've thought about him in terms of, like, what does it mean to balance the Force? He's the one in the middle. You'd think he'd be balanced. I don't think so, but I'll have to make a whole video about that if I do that. Don't really want to just spit that all out in a live stream, especially one that's long already, because I don't remember. I think it's like an hour and a half at this point. But yeah, Bendu, I'm going to put him in S tier. I don't really know how powerful he is, and we only have one, in quotes, fight scene with him. He kind of just turns into a cloud and starts shooting things with lightning. Can he even be killed? I mean, Thrawn shoots at the cloud and he falls out of the sky. Maybe he was using the Force to make a cloud. I'm not really sure. He's clearly not normal. He's obviously been there for a while. He doesn't seem to need to live off of much. I mean, maybe he eats though as spider people. There is a cave right by him. Maybe that's like maybe that's like his like herd of livestock, I guess. No, I think he's more not pacifist, what is it? Apathetic than that. He probably just kills them every now and then with the Force and eats them for sustenance and calls it the circle of life, which, to be fair, yeah, that's what we do too, as humans. Everyone does that, really, to some extent. But, yeah, I don't know. I'm kind of just arbitrarily putting him in S tier because he can turn into a cloud or something. I don't know. Next, we have all 5 members of the Bad Batch. And so, actually, I'm not going to rate Omega. She has her bow. That's about it. Yeah, I don't know. I could plop her down in F tier, but again, it's just, she's not quite that level. Alright, let's go with Hunter first. So Hunter, I'll just put them all in the same tier. Because I do think they're all in the same tier. But I do have ideas about who is more powerful than who and all that. I'm going to put them all in E tier. So I don't think they're quite the level of a Jedi. But they are really skilled. Tech is more debatable. Same with I have Echo down here in F tier. But the reason I would put Tech above Echo is because I'm going to put Tech down here. The reason I put Tech above Echo is because Tech has 2 blasters. Echo only has 1. It comes down to who has more hands. That's kind of sad for Echo. But he doesn't really have that much powers. He can interface with the computers. That's about it. Like, if Tech had the arm, it would just be a better team. And I mean, Ezra Bridger has a broken astromech arm, which he can use. Why can't Tech just add an astromech arm to his toolset? I don't know. I wish we saw more powers from Echo. Next we have Crosshair and Wrecker. They're going up with Hunter, up in E tier. Alright, so this is all the characters, but I'm going to do some more stuff. So first, I'm actually just going to run through where I have everyone, maybe. Okay, you know what now? Here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to run through, I'll demonstrate what I'm going to do. Alright, so in S tier, we got Palpatine, Yoda, Luke, and Bendu. Also people that are notably off this list. Actually, before I get into this, I'm going to read this comment that just came in. C says, Grievous defeats Shaak Ti in Clone Wars 2003. Yes. See, okay. So that show is Legends. Even if it was canon, though, I would have to discount, all its feats. Mace Windu, don't get me wrong. That show is so fun to watch. Like, Mace Windu beating up all those droids, that example I was going to say. There is no way that would happen in the Clone Wars, the 3D one. If he takes on that many droids, I mean, he's just winning because he has to survive, right? But if they showed a Jedi of his caliber, we see Mace Windu and him sparring, and they're about equal, and then we see them take on droids, and they count the droids like Anakin and Ahsoka are doing, and they get the same number, and they have the same fighting style, and then we see him go up against hundreds of super battle droids. Yeah, he's losing. For sure. No way he's winning that. But that show has its appeal, for sure. And then you get to Grievous, where Grievous is taking on Kiarimundi and I think Shaak Ti as well in that same scene. But basically, Grievous is taking on 5 Jedi at once. It's insanity. How powerful can this guy be? And then Revenge of the Sith comes around, and he loses to Kenobi from a Force push. And then he runs away. And Mace Windu says, General Grievous will run, like he always does. They are just such different characters. And not, General Grievous is the biggest example, but the Jedi do too. Pushing away hundreds of droids at once, slamming together giant trade federation ships, and this is specifically Yoda. Then you have, all the other Jedi are just way more powerful. You have Ventress, and Anakin, dashing through trees and stuff. Yeah, it's great. It looks stunning, awesome, just fun to watch. But I can't use it in canon, or I can't even before the whole canon thing came to be about, I would hate it when I would see people use that show as evidence for how powerful things are, or for how powerful people are, because it's just ridiculously powerful. It's so stylized too. Again, I like it, but I can't really use those feats as canon. All right. So we got everyone in S tier is Palpatine, Yoda, Luke, and the Bendu. Notable people that I would add to that list, but who just aren't on the overall list, are the people of Mortis. So you've got the father, the son, and the daughter. Who else? Actually, there should be one more, right? I don't think so. Actually, okay, never mind. I thought there was one. I thought there was one more that I usually add to that list, but no, I don't think so. Next you got in A tier, you've got Anakin, Darth Vader, Windu, Snoke, Dooku, Talzin, Kenobi, and Darth Maul. All right. Actually, wait. I missed something in S tier. S tier. So I'm gonna rank all these guys in terms of power level. So, okay. Sorry for my scatterbrainness. Okay. So Sidious versus Yoda. Yoda loses. Now, it was a bit of a cheap out loss because they both get knocked back, and Yoda happened to fall further down and didn't land on his feet. Okay. So, C responds with, well, you're right. Yeah. Again, I love the Clone Wars 2003. Very fun. But, okay, so yeah. So Yoda loses to Sidious. It is a bit of a stalemate type of loss. Like, Yoda's just like, yeah, I can't win. He's probably got reinforcements coming. I'll just run away. But at the same time, I do think Sidious is just slightly more powerful. Next, we got Luke versus Yoda. Or, I mean, again, like, you can have stylistic differences where one person just has the advantage. Kind of like, it's not quite this simplified, but like in Pokemon, when you have a water type against a fire type, even if the water type is like 2 levels below, they could stand a chance. Or even if they have like better moves. Like, yeah, there's more factors than just like who's more powerful. But anyways, who I think is more powerful between these two, I gotta go with Yoda. And this comes down mostly just to him having more feats. Like, Luke is no doubt powerful to me, but there's just like you don't see his power very much, so it's just less concrete of a power. Like, I don't know. That is explained very poorly, but I don't know. I don't know if I can explain it any better than that. There's less evidence of his power, so I can't attribute more power to him. So I guess Yoda wins that. Other than that, we see about equal force powers from them. Of course, lots of Luke's force powers come with caveats, like him being a force ghost for his most notable one, and a lot of them being, he was younger, and also those ones are less powerful. Whereas Yoda, it's like, he's just lifting an X-Wing or lifting a pillar, and that's just his natural force powers. It's a lot more, and that's kind of what I mean, is Luke's powers come with a lot more asterisks. Asterisks? I don't know if I'm saying that right. Whatever those, like, 8-pointed star things are. Kind of defeats the purpose of a star, but you know what I mean. It comes with more, like, except for this, it's like, he's powerful, except this feat makes him, says he can do this, but it's just a lot more exceptions. So yeah, Yoda wins that, mostly because of that. The Bendu, again, I don't know how powerful this guy is. I've never thought about it. Oh man, I'd have to rewatch. I think he actually beats Sidious. The problem is he just doesn't do anything. He's the one in the middle. He's just sitting there on his planet. Go away. I don't, like, fine, I'll teach you about vision. Kanan Jarrus Jedi Knight. Okay. He's just so apathetic. So we don't see his powers very much. But yeah, so that's S tier, I'd say. Bendu, Sidious, Yoda, Luke. Alright, next up we got A tier. We got Anakin, Vader, Windu, Snoke, Dooku, Talzin, Kenobi, and Maul. I always feel the need to add the Darth Maul, because otherwise it's just a really short name, but no, it's just Maul. He's no longer a Sith. Okay, so let's start with the back. So we kind of got it sorted a little bit already. Kenobi and Maul are at the back. Kenobi just slightly ahead. All right, Kenobi, when was his prime? Is it old Kenobi or young Kenobi? So the big thing here, there's two things for old Kenobi. We see two duels with him. the first one that we see, release date order, is his duel with Vader in A New Hope. Now, I really like A New Hope. It's a great movie. It's very well done. The pacing, oh my goodness, the pacing, so good. Such a well-rounded story. But that duel is just so hilarious compared to, like, Duel of the Fates or Battle of the Heroes. Like, it's two old guys poking sticks at each other. Or like an old guy and a robot, as Lucas says. Like, fine, it's canon, but I'm not happy about it, and it makes it really hard to judge old Ben Kenobi. Before this, I was just like, okay, I guess he's getting old. He's not as good at Yoda as Force augmentation. He's just getting old. I get it. I guess he's like 93 or something, or I don't know, whatever. But then we see in the Twin Sons episode when old Ben takes on Darth Maul, or not Darth Maul, when he takes on Maul. And it's great battle, by the way. I love that one. There's I don't actually know if there's that much debate about it. When it first came out, there was a lot of like question about, was this good? Does a lightsaber fight have to be flashy and long? And I get that I'm kind of painting the other side in a super negative light there. Should lightsaber fights end this quickly? Short answer is yes, that's pretty realistic, but no, it's less consistent with other stories. But at the same time, it's very poetic, so I like it. It's nice and short. There's so much symbolism in there. That thing has been analyzed to death, though. You can watch hundreds of videos on that. Excuse me, voice crack. My voice is getting dry. But anyways, good fight. Kind of disproves my idea that Obi-Wan is just old and weak, and that's why he didn't do good, or that's why he was slow against Vader. So I'm just gonna go with the fact that it was bad technology at the time. They didn't know what they were doing. Star Wars was already expensive, and lightsabers were new props, and that's why the fighting was really good. And I'm gonna say old Ben is better than Kenobi because of experience. Because generally with a Jedi, that's how it happens. You get older, you get weaker, but you have the Force, and you can depend on that more. That's why Yoda is so strong. So I'm gonna say old Ben is more powerful, but it's very debatable. All right, what about like Mother Talzin? How does Mother Talzin compare to Kenobi? I think Talzin would win pretty easily. Same with all these guys, honestly. Kenobi and Maul in the back, very securely there, but still at this level, I would say. So what about like Talzin versus Dooku? I think, okay, so Talzin, the thing with Talzin is she's got lots of like powers, right? She's got a wide range of powers, and they're not very conventional. They're all very unique. But she doesn't have that much power with lightsaber combat. In her duel with Windu, she actually like makes a sword, and it's like a fire sword. It doesn't have much reach, but it's really thick and seems really dangerous. I don't really know how to judge it. She seems, at least when she's wielding it, she seems to be able to match Mace Windu's strength, which is impressive. I think she would be able to beat Dooku. Dooku is definitely skilled in his own right, but when it comes to I just think she has more tricks in the bag, which, don't get me wrong, Dooku is one of the best at using all the Force tricks, but Talzin just has more of them, and she relies on them more. As for Talzin versus Snoke, I think it's a pretty clear win to Snoke. Maybe not a clear win, but Talzin is strong, but Snoke is just stronger. I don't know what it is about him, but he just ended up with a lot of force power. We don't really know much about him, but from what we see, he's able to ragdoll Rey. He's able to like make force bonds and stuff we've never seen before. He's pretty powerful. Okay, maybe it's not a very close battle, or maybe it's not a very easy to pick battle, but I do think Snoke would win. I stand by that, barely. As for Snoke versus Windu, I've already made I've already made a video on that. I think Windu would win. He's just got a faster style, and that style does help him win. But I do think he's just slightly more powerful. I think his force abilities are underestimated him. At one point, he pushes an ATTE off of a cliff. That's pretty powerful. In that same episode, he does some other cool stuff with the Force. Watch my video to see all my thoughts on that. Obviously, stay till the end of the stream, of course. And if you're not watching live, stay till the end of the video so that I get more views, right? But yeah, definitely go watch those videos as well so that I get more views, right? Anyways, Okay. Windu. Oh, and by the way, as I said before, I have a video coming out on Anakin versus Vader, so I'm not going to say who I think would be better. It's very close. So I'm just going to treat them as like, would Windu be able to beat them? Not at once, but like, you know what I mean. Okay. Windu versus Anakin. Well, let's just go with Windu versus Anakin. Okay. Anakin, I think, is stronger. And this is a very close battle. I'll probably do this one eventually because it's a really good battle. Lots of like story-wise, they're very close in power. Yeah, lots of things going for them. In terms of strength, I think Luke is, or not Luke, well, Luke I think too, but I think Anakin is physically just stronger. In terms of speed, I think Windu would win. And then skill, I think Windu would win that as well. Like lightsaber skill, I think it's pretty close, but I think Windu might edge out just a bit. But then you get to force powers, and like I was saying, Windu is powerful, but Anakin is even more powerful. I don't remember who pointed this out, but someone pointed out this feat, and I'm super glad they did. It's during the Mon Calamari arc of the Clone Wars. I don't remember at what exact timestamp or anything. If you're really curious, I can research that later and leave a comment or something, or a reply to your video or to a comment or whatever. But he like crushes like this giant metal frame to a tower. Like it's the foundations of a building, underwater building. So I'm not obviously not experienced with that type of building, but it's metal, and he's just crushing it with the Force. That's just a level of power beyond what Windu has. Okay, maybe not a full level. It's like a half level of power beyond what Windu has, and I think he has the advantage there. Tactically, honestly, they're pretty similar. Windu and Anakin are both confident. They're both very direct, but I do think Anakin is slightly better. I don't know. It's a very close one. I think Anakin would edge out, though, just slightly. Oh, man, it's so close, though. I'll just leave it like this. It's pretty much a stalemate. Like I said, I'll probably do a video on it eventually, and maybe I'll have a Windu win, maybe I'll have Anakin win. I'm not going to tell you. All right, and as I said, Vader and Anakin, not going to tell you who I think would win. Oops. Not going to tell you who I think would win. Oops again. There you go. Because, I don't know. I'm coming out with a video on it later. All right, back to B tier. Back down to B tier. So we got Kid Fisto, Evan Piel, Kiarimundi, Plo Koon, Pong Krell, Quinlan Voss, Shak Ti, and a bunch of non-Jedi, General Grievous, Jar Jar Binks, Darth Jar Jar, Gong Droid, and Savage Opress. All right. So right at the back, we got Savage Opress, and then we got Gong Droid. Okay, so here's the thing about Gong Droid, is he's really underestimated, and that helps him a lot because like no one expects it. No one expects what he can do. But other than that one advantage, he doesn't really have that much. So while he could beat someone like a Ahsoka Tano or a Barriss Offee or whatever, I don't think he could beat most of these people on B tier. Like Savage Opress would easily win. Yeah, we'll see. Okay, so Savage Opress versus Jar Jar Binks or Judge Jar Jar. Okay, you know what? Judge Jar Jar would win against Savage Opress. Like hands down. But that's very much a stylistic thing. Savage Opress is very much the big brute. He doesn't have that much skill. He's just more about strength and power. So, yeah, Jar Jar's strategy is very effective against him. That drunken fist fighting or whatever. So yeah, Jar Jar would win. But in terms of actual power level, and this is again combative power level, Jar Jar is obviously much better at like mind tricking and that type of stuff. But I think Savage would win that. And again, this is mostly speculation because we had never seen Jar Jar with a lightsaber. Savage versus General Grievous. That's a very interesting one. I definitely want to do a video on that one. That would be fun. I think Savage would win. Yeah, he just has more strength and he has the Force. Those are the two main advantages. Grievous is a bit faster, but yeah, I think Savage would win. I think Savage would beat Shak Ti. Savage is actually pretty powerful. I think he beat. Yeah, I don't know what Quinlan Voss. Yeah. I think. I don't know. I'm going to put him above Quinlan Voss. I'll figure him out a bit later. I'll put him over there for now. I'll put him in a bit later, but he's above, like, Shakti and Jyn Grievous and Jar Jar. All right, now I'm going to organize a tournament just to help me organize, because, I don't know, it was a lot easier when I had, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 people, but pretty soon we're going to be having, yeah. Okay, so, Jar Jar versus Gong Droid. They have the same strategy. Honestly, this fight would probably just go down like, me say Jar Jar Banks. And then he'd look around, like, looking for Gong Droid, not see him. Gong Droid would be looking around for his threat, not see Jar Jar. I don't know. That one's hard to tell. It's a tie. I think Jar Jar might edge out just a bit in terms of power. But Gong Droid is, I don't know. They both have the same strategy. General Grievous versus Shakti. Yeah, again, we don't see anything from Shakti that I'm aware of in canon. But, yeah, I don't know. I'll just say General Grievous wins. It's kind of like that Luke versus Yoda thing. In the absence of feats, you gotta underestimate just a bit. That's kind of why Jar Jar is only in B tier. I mean, he could totally be in S tier. Like, I don't even know. But B tier for him, just because there's an absence of actual combat feats. All right, next we got Quinlan Voss versus Pong Krell. That's an interesting one. I think Quinlan Voss would win. His feat against Dooku is just so impressive. It shows a lot of speed and strength, which I think Pong Krell, while he's also strong in his own right and fast as well, his style just doesn't give him as much leverage. And I think Quinlan would definitely take advantage of that. And then in terms of power, I just think Quinlan is just a more well-rounded fighter. Plo Koon versus Kiarimundi. That's really a fight of a blue lightsaber Jedi Council members who never actually fight in something we see. So it's kind of just, I like Plo Koon as a character better, so he's going up one. Kid Fisto versus Evan Peel. I don't know. Yeah, I'm going to say Evan Peel. He just seems like he's so fast and so, like, he's a bigger, heavier Yoda. That's kind of how I see him. And obviously he's not quite as good as Yoda, but he's got a lot of kinetic energy to him, which I think would really aid him in a fight. So I'm going to say he's better than Fisto. And again, we don't see that much from him. All right, let's go Jar Jar against, actually here, let me quick organize this. Oh, that's frustrating. Okay, Jar Jar, actually, let's do Gong Droid versus Shakti. Okay, so as it is, I think Shakti would definitely do good against the Gong Droid because she just got like a awareness to her, which I guess I kind of attribute only because, well, she does have those Montrals, but in terms of like awareness, I'm talking more like force powers, and I kind of just attribute that to her because we never see her in a fight, so she seems more wise. So again, this is mostly speculation, but I do think she would win, but that doesn't mean she's more like better in a fight. I don't know. I think Gong Droid might be able to be more powerful though. Yeah. This is a bad idea. This is not good for organization. I'd have to do a round robin tournament, and this many people, that's even worse. I'm just going to start throwing people in places. Sorry for the waste of time. Okay. Evan Peel, Plo Koon. I think Quinlan would be a bit better. Maybe Savage can go right behind Kiadimundi, or right above Kiadimundi, actually. Come on, go there. Right. Okay. Krell. Yeah. Shakti can go up to here. Jar Jar can go there. Jar Jar can go a little bit higher. There we go. I'm happy with that. So Evan Peel, number 1 of B tier. Then Kit Fisto, Quinlan Voss, Plo Koon, Jar Jar, Savage Opress, Kiadimundi, Pong Krell, Gong Droid, General Grievous, and Shakti. That's my list. That's probably one of the most debatable lists ever, because half of them are Jedi Council members who we never see fight, or rarely see fight, I should say. Definitely don't fight other Jedi. All right, down to C tier, where we got Caleb Doom, Ventress, Ahsoka Tano, Qui-Gon Jin, Luminara Unduli, Barriss Offee, Ayla Sakira, Luke Skywalker, who I might have to move up to B tier, Kylo Ren, Rey, and the Grand Inquisitor. All right. So here we go. I think at the top of this is gonna be Luke Skywalker. I don't know. Caleb Doom is also pretty good. I think this is actually a pretty good list already in how it's formatted. I think Kylo Ren and Rey can go. I think Ahsoka and Ventress are gonna go. Yeah, okay. That's just style though, because they're faster, but he's stronger. That's again, style is man. So much of these top 4 here are style. I think Caleb Doom, his just awareness and defensive ability would be really good against Ahsoka and Ventress, but Ahsoka's and Ventress agility would be so good against Luke Skywalker's just solid stances. But then Luke's solid stances would just like Caleb's awareness wouldn't help him that much when he's just continually driven back until he's finally defeated. So it's just kind of like this triangle, and just kind of there's a thing called ABC logic, and I stole this term and this idea from Antoine Bandili. So I guess I'm a thief now. But basically, what it is this isn't Pokemon, or this isn't like a I don't know, like just some sort of power level game. You can't just say, oh, Luke is a 5.5 and Caleb Doom is only a 5.4, and that's why Luke wins. And then Caleb Doom is a 5.4 because and Ahsoka's a 5.3, so that's why Caleb wins. But then Ahsoka's a 5.3 and Luke is a 5.5, so that's why Ahsoka. Wait a second, win. And see, that's a great example of it. It's not that simple. It's obviously not as simple as Pokemon either, but Pokemon is another example where you've got like a fire, grass, and water, where it's like this triangle where each one wins and each one loses to the one, or each one wins to the one on the right and each one loses to the one on the left, and creates this cycle. And it's a really awesome game mechanic, and it kind of exists in real life a little bit, and that's why ABC logic doesn't hold up. You can't just say, oh, Vader killed Sidious, and Sidious killed all 3 Jedi at once, that being Satan, Kit Fisto, and Agan Kolar. So obviously Vader can take on all 3 of those at once. It doesn't work like that. So yeah. I don't know which of these 4 is more powerful. I'm just going to leave it like this, how it is. But this is by no means final. Next we got, I'm going to put Kylo Ren and Rey next. They just have so much raw talent. Yeah, they're pretty up there. Barriss Offee might even be above Luminara. That fight with Anakin, that's impressive. I'm going to put her right behind Ventress. And I know she takes out Ventress and she takes out Ahsoka, but she takes Ventress by surprise, and Ahsoka thinks she's fighting Ventress, so she's fighting differently. That and Barriss has things planned out. I go over that whole fight in my recent Ahsoka versus Ventress video. I don't really touch on Barriss taking on Ventress, but that's just because it's pretty simply just a surprise attack. Ayla Sakira. I don't really remember her episode that much. The one with the Irish lemur pacifists. I don't remember. I think she was probably like right behind Barriss, I'm gonna say. Next we got the Grand Inquisitor, who I think is probably the bottom of this list, honestly. I think he would lose just about every one of these. Luminar is debatable, but I think Luminar might still win that. Alright, moving on to D tier, where we have Jango Fett, Boba Fett, Cad Bane, Fennec Shand, Arsing, Pre Vizsla, Ezra Bridger, Bo-Katan, Cal Kestis, and the second sister, who is going to represent pretty much all the other Inquisitors. Yeah, so we got right at the top here, Jango Fett, Boba Fett, Cad Bane. And this is pretty much the list I would go in terms of their power level. Jango Fett, I think, is just slightly better than Boba Fett. And I think that'll probably change when the Book of Boba Fett comes out, and we see Boba Fett get a little bit more experience and just a touch better, and just he'll have more feats. And naturally, the more we see of him after George Lucas is writing him, people are just going to give him more and more ridiculous stuff, and it's going to conflict with the original source material, which is going to frustrate me, but you guys are all going to love that. So, happy for you guys. And happy for Boba Fett, too. He'll eventually be able to take out Jango. Might even be able to do that even with just his feats in The Mandalorian. I don't know. It's more debatable now, for sure. And then again, with his duel against Cad Bane, he doesn't have armor. That's a huge drawback. There's also some other tool differences, but in terms of skill, they're pretty equal. Cad Bane has a bit more agility, but it's close. It's very close. All right, we got Fennec Shand next. Okay. So, Fennec Shand was introduced in The Mandalorian as basically a sniper, which makes her extremely dangerous. Like, snipers, very underestimated in Star Wars. And I'll touch on that more with Crosshair. Assuming she has the right position, she's able to take out so much. Like, her battle with Fennec Shand and I forget that one guy's name. But basically in Chapter 5, when she takes on the Mando, like, her position is so untouchable there. Like, I don't think Cad Bane could have taken her out. I'll say this. I don't think Boba Fett could have taken her out there. Because she's just in such a good position. But then you go to, like, the Geonosian Labyrinth, which is my go-to, like, tunnel system with, like, confined quarters and stuff. And she would get absolutely wrecked by even, like, a Chewbacca. At least, given all we see from her in The Mandalorian. Now, she is a sniper, which makes her, like, really good, but also has those drawbacks, which is fine. But then, in The Bad Batch, we see more of her. And she's a lot younger at this point. She's new to the scene. And she's already able to take on Cad Bane. Why do you do this to me? See, now she's got a lot more experience. I should probably put her above Cad Bane. But Cad Bane is, like, supposed to be the best bounty hunter of the time. I don't like it at all. I don't like it one bit. But, I don't know. I'll probably have to put her above Cad Bane. Because at that point, but then again, then she'd be better than Boba. Maybe it's just a fluke. I don't like that duel between her and Cad Bane. Because it just throws off this whole, like, Cad Bane is the best bounty hunter, and Boba Fett is the next best. Jango Fett was their predecessor. It throws this whole thing off. But, I don't know. I'm going to put her right below Cad Bane, because I'm going to say it's kind of like when Boba Fett got knocked in the Sarlacc by a blind Han Solo. It's just a fluke. Man, you got to do this a lot. So much with these Fetts and Banes up here. As long as they don't make a Darth Bane TV show and give him, like, he takes out, I don't know, like 5 Jedi at once and then later is beaten by a bounty hunter or something. As long as they don't do that. Oh, man. Okay. Arsene. Much like Fennec Shand, mainly a sniper, but also decent with blasters. We see this in her, when she goes to assassinate Padme, and she is able to get through Ahsoka's guard. Granted, this is a younger Ahsoka, but man, that was a lot of blaster fire. And that was close quarters, too. So, clearly very good. But I think Fennec Shand is better. She just has much better feats, which I hate to say it, because those feats are coming mostly from Bad Batch. But man, I gotta give it to the one with the feats. Alright, Pre Vizsla. This guy is underestimated for sure. He's able to take on Jedi with a lightsaber. Now, that's not crazy impressive. Cad Bane gets disarmed pretty quickly. But he's able to take it out with his electric gloves. Cad Bane loses to Ahsoka. And this isn't like Season 7 Ahsoka. This is, I think, like Season 4 or something. It's mid-Clone Wars Ahsoka. Still skilled. And granted, he didn't outright lose. He got his jetpack slashed and then had to leave it as it blew up and he got knocked to the ground. He didn't lose. And the other thing is, he was only using his jetpack and his lightsaber. You know what, actually, I look at a lot of these characters and say, oh, they have inconsistent, like, power levels. But Pre Vizsla actually might, it's not that he has inconsistent, it's that he's actually getting better. He takes on Kenobi, and he loses to Kenobi. Kenobi's defensive, and he still is taken out, not quickly, but he doesn't really put up that much of a fight. Then he duels Ahsoka, who is very aggressive. And he puts up a pretty good fight, and makes her take a while to slash his backpack, or his jetpack. Then he takes on Maul. And he actually does really, really good against Maul. He uses, like, every trick in the Mandalorian book. He has, like, he shoots blaster bolts from his wrist gauntlets, or van braces. He shoots blasters from his actual twin blasters. He shoots, like, razor blades. type things, or like circular saws out of his land braces. He uses his flamethrower, he uses bombs, he uses his jetpack, he uses his lightsaber. Doesn't use a helmet, which bothers me to no end. Why these Mandalorians don't use their helmets. Helmets are very useful if you don't know. Like, there's a reason they're used, but they tend to like showing their faces for some reason. I like helmets a lot better. Anyways, he doesn't use his helmet, but he uses pretty much everything else in his tool set. So that's very impressive. For that alone, as I said earlier, I'd put him in C tier. But as it is, based on all his feats, I think he's probably, I don't know, he might be able to take out Jango Fett. I don't know. That one's a close one. The problem is his Darksaber is great against a Jedi, but against other blaster wielding people, he's just gonna get shot. Unless, of course, he has Beskar armor, which, this is another thing that I have against the Clone Wars. Just an inconsistency. It's not like story-wise. I don't know. Leave it in the chat. What are you more frustrated by? Like consistency, like problems, or story problems? Because realistically, we should be more upset by story problems. Because who really cares about? I don't know whether Saw Gerrera has the wrong hair color or whatever, or skin color. That's because I think he has black skin even in the Clone Wars, right? Anyways, he has the wrong skin color, which I don't know. Weird. You can't really change skin colors. Like I'm sure you can, but why would Saw Gerrera do that? He has no motivation for that. Anyways, well, I forgot what I was talking about. Oh, right, inconsistencies. Beskar armor in the Clone Wars seems to just get hit by a blaster, or I should say Mandalorian armor in the Clone Wars. You get hit by a blaster, and it doesn't help you that much. Whereas in the Mandalorian, he gets hit by blaster fire all the time, and it just completely diffuses. Just into his armor, absorbed completely. And we do know it's Beskar. I'm pretty sure there's a line. It might not be Beskar, but I'm pretty sure there's a line where they're saying they're mining for Beskar. And that's what Obi-Wan Kenobi is inspecting but right before he has his duel with Pre Vizsla is that they're mining Beskar. And so he finds those, and so they're wearing Beskar, but it doesn't seem to protect them against blaster fire. So if you can point out a few instances of Beskar armor actually protecting the Mandalorians in the Clone Wars, I would love that. That'd be great. But as it is, we just don't see that much Beskar until the Mandalorian, and then finally we see it. But in the Clone Wars, it's not really talked about that much. All right, but assuming he has Beskar, as you would expect, Jango Fett, he should be able to take out the Jango Fett, unless Jango has Beskar, which apparently Boba Fett's armor is Beskar now. Oh my goodness, I'm so confused. Wait, do we ever see Jango actually get hit by? No, because he gets hit in the neck where he's not wearing armor. So maybe that is Beskar, and we just never see it. I could go on longer, but I'm going to stop that rant there. All right. Moving on to Ezra Bridger. And this is where, I'm going to do Bo-Katan first, actually. And again, going with the fact that this is Beskar. I don't know. I'm so conflicted about this. I'm going to say she belongs right below Aurra Sing. I'd be interested to see more of her in Season 3 and in maybe even in Ahsoka. Season 3 of The Mandalorian, because I didn't specify that. I'd be interested to see more of that, more of her powers, and see how she's developed since the Clone Wars. Although she would be getting, how old would she be? I don't know. Should be getting decently old. But anyways, at this point, I think she's below Aurra Sing. Next, we have a bunch of Force users. We got Ezra Bridger. So I think you'd beat Bo-Katan. Aurra Sing. Oh man, this depends so much on location. Okay. So, Aurra Sing is primarily a sniper. That means when she's got the high ground, when they're far away, when there's basically when she can hit him from really far away and he's going to have trouble getting to her, she wins so easily. On the other hand, and by the way, one more thing to add to that, if there's very little wildlife around. On the other hand, if they're in tight quarters with a lot of giant beasts around, like a Gundurk cave or something, Ezra would just dominate because he has such a connection with beast control. Like, he uses that a lot. So he could really use those effectively in some terrains, but in other terrains, there's just nothing to use. Whereas Aurra again, sniper, same thing. But so I'm actually going to compare them to how they would fight against Cad Bane. And I think comparing that, I think Ezra Bridger gets the slight edge. I don't think he's better than Fennec Shand, though. I think I think Fennec Shand would beat him. As for Cal Kestis, I think Cal Kestis is actually slightly better than Ezra. We see him take out the Ninth Sister and the Second Sister as well. Ezra, sure, he only fights, well, after the Grand Inquisitor, he only ever fights, like, 2 Inquisitors at once, or sometimes 3. Or actually, does he fight any Inquisitors after Season 2? He doesn't. Oh, that's so sad. Man, that doesn't make any sense. Why would they do that? Anyways. I mean, I guess they thought Thrawn could handle it, but why not give Thrawn an Inquisitor? It would be handled so quickly. Maybe that's why. Maybe it was plot armor. Oh my goodness. Okay. So, yeah, he doesn't fight Inquisitors very often after, like, at the end of Season 4 when he's at his most powerful. But I do think he's a little bit worse than Cal Kestis. And that's really hard to judge because Cal Kestis is a video game character. Oh my goodness. And like I was saying before, I have very little experience with video games. And not only that, it's more subjective, especially with the main character where you're controlling him. You can be as bad or as good as you want. But I don't know. It's hard to judge. But I think Cal Kestis would win. As for Second Sister, or the Second Sister, it's close. It's very, very close. I think she'd beat Ezra. Same with most of the Inquisitors. There's some that I think Ezra would be able to beat. It also depends on why they're fighting a lot. Because if Ezra can just run away and find a cool, like, Lothwolf or something to beat up the Inquisitors, right. But then so there's a lot of nuances that go into fights, but I think for the most part, most Inquisitors would beat Ezra in a one-on-one duel. Then again, by Season 4, he's a bit more powerful. I'm going to put him above the Inquisitors. There we go. Boom, take that, Inquisitors. You suck. Alright. Baze Malbus. Actually, wait, no, not, okay. So, okay, let me go through the order real quick. The order for Tier D is Pre Vizsla at the top. Beneath him is Jango Fett, Boba Fett, Cad Bane. Then you've got Fennec Shand, Cal Kestis, Ezra Bridger, the Second Sister, Aurra and Bo-Katan. Alright, next we got Tier E with Baze Malbus, Shirt Nimue, Zeb, Chewie, Embo, awesome character, Hondo, such a fun guy, Mando, what a great dude, K2SO, yeah, he's funny, IG-11, yeah, I loved him, Rancor, R2-D2, classic, Sabine Wren, oh man, I love that Trials of the Darksaber episode, Boba Fett, kind of overrated, but I actually like him a lot, even though he's overrated, forgetting her name, Iden Versio, cool story, Marin, I think that's her name, the Night Sister from Jedi Fallen Order, don't remember her name, Cobb Vanth, the book character, love to see it, and 3 of the Bad Batch, so we got Wrecker, Hunter, and Crosshair. Okay. So, who do I think would be at the top here? We got at the top maybe a Sabine Wren, something like that. Maybe an Embo. We got Mando. Who else we got here? We got Wrecker. Okay, you know what? Real quick, I want to talk about the Bad Batch. Okay, so in the Bad Batch, you can see I have in F tier I have Tech and Echo. They are primarily not the fighters. They're primarily the my mind goes blank sometimes when I'm streaming. It just shuts off. Anyways, they're primarily the tech people. They can come with lots of interesting strategies, but they need the teammates to do the normal like strategies. They need Wrecker to go in and just trash a bunch of droids. They need Crosshair to take out like a whole bunch of droids. They need him to cover for them in the on like a high ground or something. They need Hunter to just lead the team to a charge and just go in with the knife and just stab a whole bunch of droids. They need all that to be effective. But without that, they're just kind of good shooters. Yay. So they're over in F tier, whereas the other ones are in E tier. Because they all have powers that actually help directly in combat. Wrecker, obviously, very strong, very tough, still fast and skilled. You got Crosshair, very good sharpshooter, great with his strategies. Like, his sharpshooting is on another level from anyone else we've ever seen. Then you've got Hunter, who has those senses, and that power isn't quite as helpful as Wreckers and Crosshairs are. So he's actually, I would say, like, if Echo and Tech are at the bottom, and Wrecker and Crosshair at the top, I would say Hunters are more in the middle. So with that being said, I'm going to move them up to the top because I think that's a bit where they belong. Though below Mando, them being Crosshair and Wrecker. But I'm going to leave Hunter down here. I don't think they'll stay and last for long, though. We've also got Marin up here. You know what, Marin? This is so hard to judge because I honestly don't remember how powerful Marin is. I'm going to put her in the bottom of D tier. She's definitely got some force powers or magics, if you want to call it what the Night Sisters call it. But yeah, she belongs in D tier, I think. Alright, IG-11. I think he goes up here too. Probably above Crosshair. K2SO, say below. Zeb and Chewie are going to go down here. Hundo. Okay, where's the Rancor going to go? Rancor is going to go right below Wrecker. R2-D2. Oh, you know what? Young Boba Fett is actually really good. He's going to go right below Wrecker. R2-D2. Where does R2-D2 go? I'm going to put him right below Hondo. He's going to be lower. Iden Versio. Iden Versio is pretty good. Pretty versatile. Pretty skilled. Pretty intense. I'm going to put her right ahead of Boba. Cobb Vanth. With the armor, of course. If he's without it, he's going down his year. But with the armor, he's going to go right above a Rancor. Alright, and I think this is pretty good. Yeah, Hunter's going to go above R2. Though I do think R2 would beat Zeb and Chewie for sure. He's too smart for them. Okay, so we got Sabine Wren, Embo. Oh, am I happy with that, though? I'm going to put Embo above Sabine. Okay. Mando versus Sabine? Yeah, Sabine's going to win that. Well, but Mando's pretty good, though. I'm going to put Mando above... but Sabine has bombs. Nope, Mando's still winning. Okay. Embo. I'll put Mando's good, though. I don't know. This is close. Okay. Mando is at the top. There we go. I think I'm satisfied with this. Mando is at the top of tier E. Then you've got Embo, Sabine Wren, IG-11, Crosshair, Wrecker, Iden Versio, Young Boba Fett, Cobb Vanth, Rancor, or a Rancor, I should say, K2SO, Baze Malbus, Shurt Imwe, Hondo Onaka, Hunter, R2-D2, and then you've got Zeb and Chewie. And I'm going to put Bosk up there with... Actually, I'm not going to put Bosk up there. I'm going to bring Zeb and Chewie down. Sorry. R2 as well. Sorry. And okay, F tier, like I said, I'm not as interested in these characters. They're cool characters, obviously, but in terms of like comparing the power levels, they're not as interesting. So I'm going to just kind of go with a speed round, I guess, for these. So yeah. Probably not going to talk too much. I think Rex, yeah, these guys, all the like top tier clones are going to go up here. Phasma is going to go right above R2, though. Moff Gideon. We got Mayfeld. Mayfeld is interesting. I'm going to put him... Don't think too much about it. I'm going to put him down here. Right there. There we go. Actually, he's a really good sniper. He doesn't use a sniper pistol or a sniper that much, but he is really good. Like Fennec Shand is impressed. I'm gonna put him right behind Bosk then. We got Cara Dune. Cara Dune's gonna go right behind Phasma. Cassian Andor. He's right where he belongs. Chopper. Dryden Vos. Interesting. He's gonna go there. I forgot her name. I still don't remember her name. Leave a chat or a comment with her name because I don't remember. The bad guy from, or not the bad guy, who you're supposed to think is the bad guy from Solo until the plot twist. Finn. Yeah, he's worried. Well, he can beat Chopper though. Thrawn. Okay, this one is interesting. He's gonna go right up against fives. Better than Bosk. Yeah, Bosk is gonna win. Good job, Bosk. You can beat Thrawn. Tarkin, probably below Mayfelt. You got Guido. Guido is going to be above Cassian Andor, but below Dryden. I'm forgetting this guy's name again. Oh, I should remember this guy's name. That mustache. So cool. But the name, I'm forgetting it. Okay, well, I don't remember it. He's going to go right above R2. Now we got Han Solo. Han Solo, I'm going to put him right above Dryden Vos. Right below, actually. Because Dryden Vos can throw his knives. That's cool. Gets him a bit more range. Obviously, he only has 2 shots. Lando, I'm actually going to put a bit lower than Han. Like, they're basically... Like, they're very similar characters. But I think in a, like, actual fight, I think I would trust Han more. Leia. Now, that one's interesting. I'm actually going to put Leia probably a bit higher than you'd expect. I'm going to put her right below Phasma. See, even though she doesn't seem to, like, utilize it that much, she does actually have the Force. Her blaster skills are pretty good. Same with Padme. Her skills are pretty good. But I'm going to put her more like, probably right below Han Solo. Kind of sad that the Senator I put higher than the Bounty Hunter, that being Padme versus Greedo. But, I don't know. Jyn Erso. Jyn Erso is definitely underrated. She's got great training. Great with those batons. Probably right below Thrawn. Yeah, that'll be good. We'll actually see Thrawn. I think it was the same weapon. Well, obviously not like a... Yeah, I think we see Thrawn use those weapons in the first book of the canon Thrawn trilogy. Hera Syndulla. What does that say? Hera Syndulla. That's a terrible accent. I messed that one up. But I know he says Syndulla sometimes. It sounds really nice. Probably right above Lando. Poe Dameron. Yeah, you're going beneath Chopper. Kira. Ooh. I'd say right above Dryden. Maybe Dryden's better, though. I'm going to put it right above. Beckett. Beckett is cool. I like him. I like him as a character. Great character. Right behind... I want to remember that guy's name so bad. This guy, or this girl, I should say, she can go right by Beckett, because I don't really know. A Wampa. Yeah, I think most of these guys could beat a Wampa. Actually, you know what? Wampa's doing better than I would have thought. I think Ridu could take a Wampa, though. Callus. Callus, I think, goes right below Chewie. No. You got the Bad Batch characters there. Phasma. Right above Leia. Seer, don't really know. I'm going to put her right there. Nope. There. Sorry. All right. Dengar. The blandest bounty hunter there is. I don't know. Right below. Right there. No. You can go there. Saw Gerrera. Okay, so this is interesting. I never actually thought of this. Saw Gerrera is actually a lot better during the Clone Wars era and the Rebels era than he is when he's got these like prosthetic legs and he's, I will run no longer. Like that line. I kind of like that line. I don't like that kind of line usually, but I don't know. Saw Gerrera just seemed kind of insane, so that's probably why it works. But yeah, I'm gonna let's say it's the younger version to make it more interesting. If it's the younger version, I'm gonna put him right beneath Phasma. So we got Rex, Cody, Fives, Bosk, Thrawn, or Mithran Nurodo, Jyn, Erso, Mayfelt, Tarkin, I can't speak, Zeb, Chewie, Tech, Echo, Phasma, Saw Gerrera, Callus, or Agent Callus if you prefer, Leia, there's 2 of them. Actually, for being more realistic, I'm going to put older, yeah. I'm just adjusting so that the older characters, or the older versions of characters, are usually lower, as you would expect in real life. Alright, back to my list. We got Leia, and then Cara Dune. Should remember this guy's name. You know what? I'm going to look it up. Mandalorian Guild Leader. Let's see if I get results. Grief Karga! Right! That's like the brightest light bulb I've ever had in my brain. Oh my goodness, Grief Karga. How did I forget that? Oh my goodness. Okay. Grief Karga is right after Cara Dune, and coming in right after him is Beckett. Then we have, don't remember her name, Beckett's girlfriend. We don't really see that much from her, but then we got Dengar, Bland's Bounty Hunter, R2D2, don't remember her name either. Turns out I don't remember the names of the people in Solo. Oops. Then you got Moff Gideon, Kira, Dryden Vos, Han Solo. You got middle-aged, young, and then old. Then you got Padme. Then you got Guido. Then you got Wampa. Then you got Seer Ajunda and Cassian Andor, Hera Syndulla. And then Lando, the other 2 Landos, Finn, Chopper, Poe Dameron. And then we're on to the don't care. So I'm not going to sort these guys. Yeah, so that is the full list right there. And I'm sure if I did this tomorrow, things would be different. I don't know what they would be, but things would be different. Probably mostly down in F tier. Don't really care that much about these. But I'd probably have characters in completely different tiers. Okay, maybe not like completely like E to C, but like E to D. Some characters would move up. Like Mando might be in D tier. Hunter might be in F tier. It would change. If I did this a week from now, it would change more. If I did this a year from now, things would be so different. So this is a very subjective list. It's a very fluid list, but this is the list for right now. So you got top tier up there with like the Bendus and the Yodas. You got A tier with the Dooku's and the Snokes. You got B tier with the Jedi Council members and the General Grievouses and Gong Droid there. You got the C tiers with the Luke Skywalker, Barriss Offee, and the Kylo Rens. You got D tier with the bounty hunters, like top tier bounty hunters, low level Jedi's. You got Pre-Vizsla. Then you got E tier with all the cooler bounty hunters like Embo, cool bounty hunter, Mandalorian. You got Sabine Wren, not a bounty hunter, but still cool. Hondo Ohnaka, awesome character, love him. Surprisingly good with an electro staff. Then F tier, you got a wide range spanning from Rex to Poe Dameron. You got like Thrawn and Han Solo. You got Wampa's Tech. Very interesting name there. Then again, it's better than like a CT9923 or something. And it kind of makes sense. Clones tend to have that sort of name. Like a Rex. Well, Rex is cooler. Means king in Latin if you didn't know. There's also the dinosaur named after it. You got Cody, Echo. I guess that's also... I think Echo's better than Tech, though. Because Tech is just kind of like, oh, he's good at Tech. Yeah, I get it. Echo's like, oh, he repeats orders. It's Echo. There's just like an extra layer. You got Fives. I mean, CT55. What else are you going to name him? That's just such a unique number. It has to be commented on. What are some other... Here's a question. What is your favorite clone trooper name? If I had to choose one name that I liked most, this is a hard question. I'm coming up with it on the fly. Thinking, processing. I'm gonna go with Rex. I know it's a boring answer, but it's a cool name. It's such a cool name. I don't actually, maybe Tup. I don't know the story behind it, but Tup seems like just such an interesting name. Yeah, I don't know. There's a lot of really interesting names that would be so interesting to hear the backstory on. Like, my mind goes blank as soon as I say like. Tup is one. I'm sure you can come up with a whole bunch of other ones, especially people who are more into the clones, because I'm more interested in like Force characters, like Jedi. I'd much rather see a show about Jedi Council members than clones, but it'd be interesting to see like clone trooper stuff. But even with that casual, or it's not really casual. I'm still a big Star Wars fan, but like casual for a hardcore, if that makes any sense. I'm not that interested in clones, and there's a lot of names, a lot of cool names. I'd love to see just more information about them. Then again, I'd have to buy a book and read it, and it's not an audiobook, so it's less interesting. It's exposition. Completely unhidden exposition. That's what those books are. Like the visual dictionaries. Still cool, though. I have one of those. Haven't finished it yet. I want to. The problem is it's a lot of like information I already know, or could easily guess, or just don't care about. Anyways, that's a really long ramble. I'm rambling. I finished the list. So what'd you think of the episode? Or not the episode, the stream. It's a long one. I don't know how many of you are going to actually watch the entire thing. But if you did, it kind of shows that you like it, right? So make sure to hit that like button, subscribe for more, and if you like comparing power levels, I have a whole nother series called Star Wars Duels. I'm pretty sure there's a link in the description. If I remember to, I will put like a link in the comments or whatever. Probably not that one, but I might do like one of those cards in the top right. Obviously not one right now if you're watching live. But that's pretty much all my thoughts on it. Make sure to leave a like, subscribe, leave a comment, of course. Especially on these live streams, I love having comments on these. Like that's kind of their main purpose, is to drive discussion and just to have a more relaxed way to interact with you guys. But I mean, it doesn't really work if you're not actually interacting. Oh my goodness. Okay, so I just switched Windows back to my streaming software, and I see now that the chat box is completely outdated. So over here on my phone where I have my stream pulled up so I can see the chat without switching windows, there's like a whole bunch of comments, which, by the way, thank you guys to everyone who showed up. Like, I have never had this much interaction in a comment section or in chat before. I've had like one person at a time, I think. I think I actually had two at one point. But this is like the first time I've had three chatting in and generally having more chats than I'm used to. So thank you guys for that. I love to see that. I'd love to have. I mean, I have mixed feelings about eventually if I get more subscribers, and it's kind of like a more like Star Wars through live streams. If you've been there, you may as well not watch it live. You can't, if you leave the chat, he's not going to see it unless it's a super chat, and even then, he gets so many of those he can't even go through all of those. Which good for him. That's awesome. I love that, and it's helping him get to what do you call it? Vader fan film season 2. But when it gets to that point, I don't know. I like interacting with the chat, but I do want a little bit more to where I'm not just talking to the microphone all the time. So if you're just watching these like afterwards or whatever, like you tune in it, like I usually do these on Saturday nights, but if you usually tune in on like Sunday morning or something, or Monday morning or something, I don't know. I'd encourage you to try and show up to these live, because I think it would make them, not only would make it more fun for me, but it would make more fun for you and everyone else, because then there's just more of a discussion, which for a lot of these topics is really good because it's a subjective thing. Like this power level thing, sure, we're basing it off of objective evidence, like feats that like they actually do. Like I'm not putting Anakin there because he's a cool character, although he is a cool character, but at the same time, it's very subjective on how you interpret those. And most of these are actually reviews, like my Bad Batch review series where I've reviewed every single episode. Check that out if you want. It's very, very subjective. A lot of the things I say in there, I've other people disagree with. So that's all my thoughts on chatting and why you should definitely chat and show up to these live. But I think that's pretty much all I have for this episode of, it's not an episode, for this stream. So thanks so much for watching. Leave a comment with all of your thoughts on these. Okay, maybe not all of them. There's a lot of characters to go through. Maybe just do like your top ones you disagree with most, or top ones you're like, you nailed that explanation the best, or never thought of it that way before. But with all that said, goodbye, old friends.